before, we almost went to the top of the league. And the reason why that is because Lavia was playing superbly. The one thing wrong with Lavia, when he injures an eyelash, he's out for about 6 months. So we need to keep him fit. And if we can keep him fit, when he was playing, Fernandes wasn't even playing because they played Casado at right back, and he was the main man running the show. And when we went to Spurs and we turned them over, right, he was the main reason.
talkSPORT Sports Update with NordVPN. Avoid scams, phishing and malware with our most advanced VPN. Now with built-in next-gen antivirus.
Good afternoon, I'm Max Scott here with your sports headlines. Martin Keown says after their showing in the Community Shield, Manchester City are in danger of imploding.
I'll tell you what I'd be doing, that question. I said, I don't care who the manager was previously. I personally am not happy with that performance. Are we going to stand up and be counted? We've been used to winning, and it didn't look like a football team yesterday. They didn't look like they were together. There was no connections in the final third.
As for Arsenal, Stuart Pearce reckons they look like a team with the fight to win back-to-back Premier Leagues.
Sometimes when you've climbed Everest, which they did last year and won the Premier League, you think there might be a little drop-off of mentality. Yesterday proved that, to me anyway, that they've got the bit between their teeth and they want to go again.
A reminder, the opening game of the Premier League, Arsenal's trip to Coventry, is live exclusively on talkSPORT Friday night, as is the early kick-off on Saturday between Hull and Manchester United. In transfer news, with Rodri on his way to Barca, we understand Manchester City are close to bringing in young Moroccan star Ayoub Biadi, and that there will still be a bid for Enzo Fernandez. Chelsea value him at £120 million. Elsewhere, Al Hilal are interested in Pedro Neto, with Chelsea valuing him at £100 million. And Sebastian Pocagnoli says he's proud to have been appointed as the new head coach of Scotland. The former West Brom and Brighton fullback's excited about developing the national team.
I never go through a challenge where I can't feel the connection, and Scotland is a passionate country for football. I'm passionate.
Alan McCoy's called it a left field appointment. For all the latest, head to the website talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Grassroots football could be caught in the drought squeeze just as the new season kicks off, and thousands of new build homes could be built near stations.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Sort your new tyres this summer at a time that suits you best from the comfort of your home or work 7 days a week with our mobile tyre fitting service. Conditions apply.
Cloudier up north, hot down south with rain expected for the rest of the week.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT. Where this afternoon, Andy, please tell us what's coming up.
Well, coming up over the next 3 hours, what we might read into yesterday's Community Shield and the opening EFL weekend. Former Cardiff City manager Steve Morrison previews tonight's derby against Wrexham. And we're right across all the day's big transfer stories.
That's right. We'd also welcome your knee-jerk reactions to the weekend's football that might come back to haunt you. You ideally start it with "Mark my words." And Survivor. Very serious story, this. Looking forward to joining us in the studio The survivor of the Cambridgeshire train stabbing of last year, former Scunthorpe defender Jonathan Joshy, joins us in the studio to talk about rebuilding his life and looking for a new club.
There's all this, plus we're around Europe with Andy Brassel. We're in Oz for all the fallout from their shock test defeat to Bangladesh. And talkSPORT's very own Ian Danter joins us to chat about his autobiography.
Yeah, Volume 1.
Volume 1.
Volume
oh
1.
My goodness.
So, no, Dancy's going to join us for a bit of a chat. We're about to talk a bit of EFL as well, of course. But it is 5 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon,
What's
Paul.
your knee-jerk reaction to the
Well,
weekend
it's good to see
football?
Enzo Maresca keep up his great record against Arsenal. Honestly.
He never had much joy for you, no?
I think 1 draw, 2 draws maybe.
Right.
But never there. We used to get thrashed. And, yeah, I mean,
It was a
look,
very flat performance by them. We're going to have a chat with Bill Burrows, former City fanzine editor and broadcaster, a bit later
actually
on.
the Telegraph sort of writing him off immediately, but I think you've got to give him a chance. You've got to give him time, not one game. I can't believe people's reaction.
This is not the kind of knee-jerk reaction I was looking at. I was ideally...
No, it's ridiculous. Look, if you take Pep, Bernardo Silva and Rodri out of any team in the world, they're not going to be as good.
No.
Bernardo Silva, people didn't even talk about him yesterday. He's such a big miss for them. He was brilliant last year. I watched him in games dominate, dictate.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Rodri, the same thing. They're going to struggle without those two. So it's going to take them time. The problem is, by the time everybody catches up, Arsenal will be 10 points ahead. They will.
Well, that's quite knee-jerk. We'll ask the guys at Betfair later on whether they're prepared to pay out now after the Community Shield
might
and
as well,
Arsenal.
'cause they're
It
gonna-
does feel a bit like that, doesn't it? They are, in terms of...
Who's going to finish above them? City are going to take time.
Hmm.
Spurs are definitely going to be better. They're a good pre-season.
but
but
they're not going to go from 17th to 1st, are they?
Neither are Chelsea.
Yeah.
Liverpool, I think they'll do well under Iraola, but it might take them a few games. That was a better performance. That was a good result against Como.
Yeah.
But it's hard to read too much into any of it.
So should we not bother then? I mean, if they've already won it, it's not much point, is there?
It's been like that in the past with City.
I saw our old mate Martin Kellner saying he should have put "mark my words" before it. Tweeting yesterday, Nuno gone by Christmas. He said. So that's the kind of stuff we're after. Based on what you saw, whether you're a fan of an EFL team or whether City or Arsenal, or maybe something you saw in some of the pre-season friendlies at the weekend.
It was a strange performance from West Ham. I watched the second half of that game
Yeah.
until they went 2-0 up. And I thought, wow, that's it. Though Fleming had missed 3 good chances and he'll score a lot in this league. I didn't expect him to come back like that. But, that was a poor result for them.
Yeah, the penalty let them back in, didn't it? So it was a weird weekend. I mean, there was quite a lot of results in the Championship you wouldn't have predicted. It was quite a difficult
Prem will
punt
be
this
like that
weekend.
next week as well.
Of course.
World Cup.
So if you've got a knee-jerk reaction to your team, any team, mark my words, you want to kick it off with that, we're interested to hear from you, and then they might come back to haunt you. Or you can even let us know at the end of the season. What did I say to you before the season even started? Mark my words. So what's going to happen this season? What's your knee-jerk reaction to the weekend's football? talksport.com/H&J. You can text to 81089. You can tweet to TSH&J.
Cristiano Ronaldo got married. What a romantic wedding it was, wasn't it?
Okay. I didn't see it.
Yes, they signed the
Wasn't invited.
They signed the prenup agreement the day before. Obviously, that's
It's always nice.
lovely romantic thing. Why not do it on the ceremony?
Yeah.
Actually
Well, so
get the ring.
that means he can't get access to her money.
Oh yeah,
Is that what they've done? Right.
And they didn't have a big wedding. They only had their.
Did they have a prenup party?
No, they didn't have anything. They
Okay.
had 4 witnesses and their children. So it was quite. It wasn't the sort of big.
Okay, well, he would have got a load of stick had it been very glitzy.
Well, no, fine. It doesn't matter what I think. It's up to him. It's his wedding. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, exactly. So why are you talking about
Well,
it?
because I'm fascinated that
Okay.
the idea of signing a prenup the day before sounds the most romantic thing that I've ever heard.
Did they have a cake?
Although I am looking forward to a Michael Owens documentary. It doesn't sound at all dry.
Yeah.
Meet the Owens. Is Howard Webb in it? It's a funny thing to do, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a brilliant striker and he's great on that show with Howard Webb, but I wouldn't have thought a documentary on his life would be that.
He may shock us all.
Well, he might. Who knows? But there you go.
Did you see that Jed Spence, the Inter Milan, decided to do a Milan quiz, asking him sort of various questions about
I didn't.
being Milan. Part of it was which of these, multiple choice, which is a typical Milanese dish, and he did all that.
Did he get it right?
What? No, I don't think he did.
Okay.
He got a few of them right. Pineapple on pizza, ? He just said no. So I think that
That's
was
right,
it, if you're in Milan. But it did strike me that before
Surely
you
it's
could,
a Ville Milanese, isn't it?
well, I kind of guess so. Before you could sign for a club, the Italian culture quiz, they called it.
Excuse me.
So they asked him all these various questions. Didn't do too bad. I mean, it wasn't 100%, but I've got one. He's coming up here. What's it gone? When do Italians drink cappuccino? That's right. They showed him dinner or breakfast. He got that one right. I think he did okay. Yeah.
These elaborate videos, though, and also the statements players make. They have to make these statements, but Brennan Johnson said he's joined Everton to win silverware. You think, well, good luck with that one.
Yes.
I mean, they might, but, I wouldn't say that's exactly likely to happen.
But wouldn't it be great if you...
But they have to, don't they? That's what they
But if you sign for a club, you had, like if you want to become a British citizen, you have to do a citizenship test.
Yeah.
So if you want to sign for a club, so if you're Voldemort, say last season, you have to say in what position did Alan Foggen play? Yeah. Yes. Or where's point out the big market on a map. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like a sort of footballing, and if you get so many of them wrong, you can't join. If only football worked like that. Never going to happen, is it? Okay, here we go then. We've got some knee-jerk reactions coming in.
Oh, good.
Mark my words, Hull City will comfortably qualify for Europe, says Neil. What are you laughing at?
It's not going to happen.
Mark my words, Blackburn will go up via the playoffs. Only joking, we missed the playoffs on goal difference again. Thanks, Kevin, nobody's friend.
Oh, dear.
That's my optimism, says Matt in Chorley. There we are. It was Neil who gave us that one. Bristol City fan here. New upstairs, new manager, 9 new signings and a typical Bristol City performance. Playoff contenders, more like relegation candidates, says James. This is good because people are venting.
Well, it's good because, you do... Pre-season doesn't count, but the first game of the season does count. It does sort of set the tone.
If you want to come on and join us and just vent, based on what you've seen, or just get overexcited. Hopefully we're going to try and track down a former Arsenal player a little bit later on to get overexcited as well, understandably, because that was a fine performance and they look so set up really to do it all over again.
That squad is so powerful.
03717 23344. That's 03717 23344. talksport.com/H&J. You can text to 81089. You can tweet to TSH&J. It's TSHANDJ. This afternoon, we are going to look back on the EFL weekend. What did we learn? Not the knee-jerk stuff, but, what's a considered take? Adrian Clark is an expert on the EFL and a regular here on TalkSport, plus former Arsenal player, of course. And he'll be joining us for a bit of a chat. We've got Cardiff Wrexham and Steve Morrison's going to join us in the final hour to look ahead to that. That's live on TalkSport this evening, and Adrian will be alongside Nigel Adderley for that one. We're talking cricket this hour because big shock of the weekend that Australia were beaten by Bangladesh in a test match. I mean, it's probably the greatest moment in Bangladeshi cricket, isn't it?
Absolutely.
To win over there like that. It's amazing.
But look, it was very early in the season. They, then they don't approach a game like that in the way they approach the Ashes. They don't, So
still not a good look, though.
No, a bit complacent by the sound of it.
Yeah. So Bharat Sandashian will join us a little bit later on. The Australian, he's based over in India. We'll be chatting to him. And Ben Jacobs will give us some of the big transfer stories of the day. That Julian Alvarez to Arsenal has reared its head once again, having been a bit of a story earlier in the window. And Pedro Neto, 100 million quid?
No chance.
Well, it's Saudi, but they're not paying the sort of money that they paid before.
And also, I don't think they want to sell him because he's part of, he's played all the pre-season. He's playing in this wing-back role. No, I don't think that's going to happen. Fernandez, that's another story. And he'll tell us about that.
Yeah, he certainly will. So that's all to come. As we said, talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH&J, 03717 23344 to get in touch this afternoon. We'll kick off looking back on the EFL weekend. We're here with Toolstation. First up, Toolstation.
That's what €1 for one prem.
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
Two.
obviously.
You're swapping 2, Jay. You are.
don't know.
Jay, you are.
Maybe 2. Don't know though. Like them nights as a final, you know, you've been in cup finals. Them nights, you never give them
Jay,
up.
I've been 2. And do you know what? I don't want to bring it up, yeah? You cost me one of them.
What do you mean I cost you one of them?
You missed the pen. So
Hold on. Wait, hold on. I didn't see you taking one.
I said to Harry, I'll take one.
No.
5.
No. Let's have this out. Don't be
Yeah.
blaming me for your Carabao
for
Cup
that.
loss, all right? Because I took the first pen and Darren Bent was nowhere to be seen.
And listen, I'm going to tell you the exact truth of what happened.
No,
At
go
the
on.
time, I was a penalty taker. I said to Harry, I'll take 1. He said, no, you take 5. I went,
No, Robbie
Sure.
Keane took 5.
no, I was supposed to take 5.
Right.
And he said, you took 1. So it never got to me. I never got to take 1.
Yeah, but the 5th penalty on that night was Robbie Keane.
No, it's me.
Nah, you're lying.
Ask Keno. I don't know if you can remember, but
Nah, you're lying.
I was 5.
You're lying.
I was a penalty taker at the time. So
So why don't you take 1?
because I said to Harry, he said, no, 5.
Nah, I disagree, mate. I think you bottled it.
Hey, listen. Hey, have you seen the pen, Bill?
I did not cost you a Carabao Cup.
You did, mate.
Where were you in the 90
that,
mins?
That could have been 2, mate. That could have been 2 for me. But no. Cheers, Jake.
That still haunts me, that does.
Does it?
Yeah, it hurts my feelings. I think about it a lot.
Ben Frost had the game of his life, mate.
Yeah.
He won man of the match that game as well.
Mate, it hurts. That game's on as well all the time. They play that game a lot. It's such a bad game.
Do you know what, right? I don't really like giving you credit, but I felt for you in the first one because you were playing well in that period.
Oh, I know.
And he left you out completely.
Yeah,
I felt for you in that.
Yeah, that hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
For Wolves against Blackburn in front of the South Bank. Raul Jimenez, he's back, and on his return to his beloved Molineux, he salvaged the point for the men in gold and black.
And there is the full-time whistle. You can sense the relief in the Tough Sheet Community Stadium. Bolton Wanderers 2, Preston North End 1.
Portsmouth 1, Queen's Park Rangers 3. A terrible 15 minutes for that Pompey back line.
Game over. Norwich 0, West Brom 2. Jimmy J. Morgan with the goal. A solo goal cutting in from the left.
Lancashire! Winner for Middlesbrough! The new hero of Teesside! Will Lancashire add the double? Watford have started the championship season with a very hard-fought victory. They upset the odds, they upset the Saints. Watford 2, Southampton 1. Let me clear, no, he can't driven in! Fleming scores and it's 2-2!
It's an opening day comeback in the Championship. It's Burnley 2, West Ham United 2.
Yes, an eventful weekend in the Championship and beyond in the EFL. Of course, we are home of the EFL here on talkSPORT. We've got a game tonight, big Welsh derby between Cardiff and Wrexham. But and Adrian Clark will be alongside Nigel Adderley as a co-commentator on that one. But let's take a look back over the weekend and some of the things that we discovered at this early stage. Good afternoon, Adrian.
Hello, Paul. Hello, Andy. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a drive ahead of me later on this afternoon. So, but I'm looking forward to it. You know, it's a proper Welsh derby. I think both teams will be bang up for it this evening.
Should be a cracking atmosphere. Yeah. I bet they're both chomping at the bit once it's all. You've got this next Monday, haven't you? You don't play till Monday night. You always feel slightly left out.
Yeah.
But we had that usual collection of shock results and surprises and drama along the way. We heard the commentary there, Will Lancashire popping up. He's made a hell of a start for Borough, hasn't he, after his move from Spurs?
Absolutely, yeah. He was really good again. I mean, he wasn't heavily involved, but 2 poachers finishes from Will Lancashire. He scored a great goal in the Carabao Cup a few days earlier, and then in this particular match against Lincoln, I think the total yardage might have been 3 yards. So it was, they were proper centre forward goals, but. That's what they missed last year, Middlesbrough. They create loads, they have loads of the ball, they've got good players all over the pitch. They're a top team, but they didn't have a finisher. And Lancashire looks like a finisher to me. Yeah. They've also improved in the goalkeeping department. I do wonder, Paul, if Spurs might end up selling Lancashire, because I think he's a player that will end up in the Premier League.
Yeah, you rated him, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought he was great. I hope he might get a chance. I mean, I think keeping him for an extra couple of weeks till the window closed wouldn't have been a bad idea either, but I'm sure he wanted to get on with his career. And we should give a word for Lincoln, who were competitive, weren't they? And the good signs for them. I know it's very early, but that was a decent, because they're many people's favourites to struggle, aren't they?
Yeah, look, I was at the game with Ian Danter and I loved it. It was a sensational first half from Lincoln, and I'm not using that lightly. They were brilliant. Everything they did without the ball was top drawer, and they made life horrible for Middlesbrough, and they deservedly led, scored a great goal. The only reason really they didn't at least draw that game is that they ran out of gas, and I think Middlesbrough have got subs they can bring on that can maybe change the game, and Lincoln subs didn't do that. So yeah, I think they'll do absolutely fine this season, Lincoln, particularly at home. That was their first defeat, by the way, in 29 league matches. So Lincoln City aren't used to losing. So yeah, I think they'll do okay.
QPR top of the tree currently, aren't they?
Oh yeah, that's a good result.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we shouldn't read too much into that, but yeah, they could do with a better season, couldn't they?
Yeah, they've been sort of treading water a little bit, haven't they, Rangers? Julian Stefan, I think he's under a little bit of pressure there in West London, so he needed a good start. And look, we know it's not easy to go to Fratton Park and win. They tend to get their better results in front of a passionate home crowd. So to win 3-1, I mean, it was all about a sort of purple patch in the 15 minutes before half-time. That's where QPR got all 3 of their goals. Some pretty dodgy defending, I have to say, from Pompey. But yeah, look, good start for the Hoops. And look, you can say that for quite a few of the sort of unfancied teams. Blackburn getting a draw at Wolves. Bolton, many people's tips to go down. They played ever so well. Probably should have beaten Preston by more than 2-1. Charlton as well beat Derby. So a lot of the underdogs did all right on the opening day.
West Ham, though, that was they looked really comfortable. They looked like a Premier League team playing in the Championship until they didn't.
Well, they were giving up. They were giving up chances, as you said. Zian Fleming had about 4 good chances before he scored. So
I thought he might not be at Burnley by the time.
Well, I saw our mate Tom Rennie suggesting they buy him.
Well, they probably should, shouldn't they? Yeah. I mean, they've got Castellanos, who I think will score a lot of goals in the Championship, and they got Bowen, and I think both of those will get 20 plus. But yeah, if they got Fleming, I mean, he played well, didn't he? And he had a lot of chances, you said. I thought Burnley were good value for the draw, to be perfectly honest. They were knocking on the door. West Ham rode their luck a little bit in terms of giving up those opportunities. So yeah, look, Burnley, West Ham drew, Wolves drew. So the teams that came down, none of them won, none of them off to that flyer. So maybe we will get that sort of wide open Championship that I think we all want really this season. There's a bit of controversy. I don't know if you saw that at Carrow Road with the West Brom goal against Norwich. So Norwich, many people's fancies, but West Brom went there, turned them over 2-1. The first goal from Hegabo, if you watch it back, he punches it in.
Oh,
so he punches.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
It comes off his arm.
Yeah, so how could the assistant miss it? It wasn't one of those.
Yeah,
well, I think he was on the. It was basically the body of the player was sort of shielding the assistant. So it's one of those, they're not perfect, are they? There's going to be human error every now and again. And I think most EFL fans or fans of EFL clubs would actually take the odd error like that over, the insufferable world of VAR.
It's normally the only time a manager, I take it Philippe Clement was no different, but it's the only time a manager says we should have VAR in the Championship. Just be careful what you wish for. Southampton, something for Southampton to get used to, of course, being trolled in their game.
Mascot.
Yeah. And the mascot.
The mascot was great.
Hiding behind the post, pretending to spy on them. So,
they're going to have to get used to that, aren't they, the Saints fans? But not great in terms of the result, because I think Watford. No one really knows with Watford year on year really what's going to happen. Good start for them. I still think they might struggle, but not a great result or performance really from the Saints. So they need to regroup. Obviously they're starting on -4 as well, so they've got a bit of catch up to do.
Now the Championship might be close, but one league that won't be close is the Premier League. Not looking by yesterday. You must be quite thrilled about the way Arsenal played yesterday. I was really impressed. It was a comfortable win, wasn't it? I don't know. Let's wait and see. I think there was some teething problems with Maresca, with the tactics, obviously holding that line on the edge of the box. They didn't do that particularly well. They didn't press very well at all, City. They're a bit lazy, I thought, out of possession as well. Arsenal just looked hungrier, sharper, looked more of a team. I'll tell you what, though. If Arsenal can get Ødegaard playing like he did yesterday, because I'm not saying he wasn't part of the title success. He had his moments, but really they won it without the captain being a main player because he missed so many games. He didn't play particularly well. If he can play like that week in, week out, in this season to come, Arsenal are going to be a lot better. Solis looks a bargain as well.
Yeah, good
fans are going to like him. He's a real...
Yeah, well, you'll remember Brian Marwood, won't you? You two. I'm sure you will. Yeah. So he's the Greek Brian Marwood. Honestly, for those old enough to remember, he's the same. He's sort of diminutive, stocky, not flash at all, Solis, but what he will do, he'll make good decisions. He'll get the ball. He'll make the right choice of pass, the right choice of cross. And in pre-season, every game that he's started, he's either scored or assisted in. So he's off to a real flyer, and he's definitely going to start, I think, fitness permitting, against Coventry on Friday. So, I really like the signing. Obviously unheralded, not many people going overboard about Solis, but looks good.
Just going back to the EFL, just finally, I saw a lot of disgruntled Leicester fans after the 1-1 draw with Notts County the other day. That sort of... Well, they've fallen out of love with the tie ownership. It's quite sad in its own way, but I think it just feels best that they get it sold and move on, because it feels a bit toxic there, doesn't it?
Very much so, yeah. Look, when Leicester won the league and when Leicester won the FA Cup, I was envious because, as an Arsenal supporter at that time, because I looked at Leicester and I thought, there's a club that's together. They've got the ownership, the fans, the team. They love each other, and it carried them forward. They were all they fed off one another. Yeah. It was a very united club, and it's not at the moment. And the ownership, unfortunately, is running out of money, and they need to sell it. And obviously, but they've got to be careful. They've got to sell it to the right people. But it's a great club. My two kids are both in the academy there. It's an amazing training ground. It is right for someone to come in and invest and take them back potentially to the Premier League. But anyone that saw them against Notts County at the weekend would say that feels a bit of a long way off, because I don't think they were great. And they sort of, in many ways, were lucky to get a 1-1 draw. So a lot of work to do at Leicester City.
We'll let you get on the road to Cardiff. We'll hear from you later. Thanks, Adrian.
Nice one. See you, boys.
There we are. That's Adrian Clark alongside Nigel Adley tonight on talkSPORT 2 for the Cardiff versus Wrexham game. We'll chat about that in a bit more detail, and a bit of Millwall, Norwich and more with Steve Morrison, the former Cardiff manager, joining us for a chat later.
Clarkey rates Solis as one of the Brian Marwoods of this world.
He does. That used to be Brian's thing, wasn't it? Yeah, of this. Of course, went on to be a big sort of administrator, senior body at City, didn't he? That's right. We're going to talk transfers next. Knee-jerk reaction still coming in. Mark my words, Michael Carrick will win a trophy this season. The Manager of the Month award for September. Steve, the disgruntled Manchester United fan.
Well, you never know.
Abby, the Manchester United fan in Glasgow. Mark my words, after seeing Manchester United get beaten by AC Milan, I think we should bring Ruben Amorim back. So there's some of the ways you're reacting today to results and events at the weekend.
They've been going quite well there up till that.
Manchester United. Yeah. They've been doing too badly. So Ben Jacobs will be joining us, our senior football correspondent. Look at some of the transfer stories of the day. Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Spurs and more will all feature. A bit of Chelsea as well. So Ben up next. And then we're going to talk cricket later this hour with the Aussies humiliated by Bangladesh at home in a test match. That's coming up. Plus, Ian Danter joins us later on to chat about his autobiography. That's all coming up.
Cricket, what? But I know Chelsea had a deadline for Fernandes, but it looks like Rodri's obviously on his way to Spain, Barcelona. I think he's going over there today. Would they go back in? It seems common sense, and particularly after watching that yesterday, would they go back to Chelsea, do you think, City?
I think it's almost nailed on that they're going to chance their arm there. Rodri deal was agreed overnight, £65 million, which is always the magic number. As far as Manchester City are concerned, he's agreed a 4-year deal. They're going to sell Dejani Reinders as well. Those transfer fees combined will be enough to match Chelsea's £120 million asking price for Enzo Fernandez. Now, obviously, sources telling us on Friday that the 5 o'clock deadline had passed. No written bids have been received. Therefore, Enzo Fernandez would stay a Chelsea player. I'm not convinced that was as hard a deadline as maybe it's being made out.
What about Jamie Vardy, Crookie? We're reading reports that he's had an offer from Brazil.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because Jamie Vardy still looks in top physical condition. Obviously did pretty well in his stint over in Italy. I think he'd prefer a return to English football, if I'm honest, but I wouldn't totally rule out a move to Brazil. Who knows, that might be the next chapter of the documentary that I've just started watching about his incredible career. But he's certainly got no shortage of interest. Sheffield Wednesday, his boyhood club, of chance their arm, but I think financially that's quite a difficult deal for the Owls to do.
Football fans all have stadiums we love, but do any of us have a pitch we love? It might sound like an odd question, but pitches can be different sizes with big consequences. Why is that, and what are the actual rules behind it? Back when association football started, pitches could be 100 metres wide and 200 metres long. That's longer than Ellen Road, not the pitch, the stadium. Anyway, UEFA wanted a standard across Europe which became 105 metres long and 68 metres wide. But some clubs had been rebels, not intentionally but because of the stadiums. Take Highbury for example. It was 5 metres shorter and a metre narrower, meaning away sides had a challenge just to adjust. Today, Forest Pitch at the City Ground is a big one, 2 metres wider than others. But the smallest of all? Craven Cottage, just 100 metres long and 65 metres wide. There are a couple of crazy outliers in Europe too, such as Napoli's home ground, the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, where the pitch is a whopping 110 metres long. So UEFA have their standards, so do the FA, but they give pitches in England some wiggle room. Pitches can be anywhere between 90 and 120 metres long, between 45 and 90 metres wide. Just imagine a pitch that's 120 metres long and 45 wide. Madness. So there you have it. There is a standard size and most teams do generally follow it. But as we all know, size doesn't matter, does it?
So it's time once again to talk transfers and look at some of the deals that could get done imminently or before the window closes. Ben Jacobs, senior football correspondent, is back. Hi, Ben.
Good afternoon.
Great news for fans of the other clubs, of course, beyond Arsenal, that they are still in the market for Julian Alvarez. Great, just what they need.
They do need him, I feel.
Yeah. This one's kind of reared its head again. Where are we at with this one?
Yeah, it's reared its head because last week there were talks between Julian Alvarez and Atletico Madrid, and Alvarez basically made it clear that he would like to seek a fresh challenge, ideally Barcelona. But if Atletico Madrid are faced with sell to Barca or sell outside of La Liga, then maybe they'd be more inclined to do business with Andrea Berta and Arsenal. But this one is still a big if, and ultimately a lot of things have to happen. One, Julian Alvarez has to follow through and insist he wants a move. Two, Atletico Madrid have to change their not-for-sale stance, and they've said publicly they want to keep the player. And three, Arsenal have to be able to fund it. And four, they have to hope Barcelona don't move and Atleti make a concession because that's the player's top choice. So this could happen. We've always known, even if there's only a slim % chance of Julian Alvarez, that Arsenal plan to be there. But it's actually one of those transfers that's somewhat out of their control. And it still depends on whether Alvarez can almost personally convince Atletico Madrid to let him leave.
Arsenal don't need him for the PL, but it would be good for the Champions League. That's really what I think they'd be thinking.
Yeah, it will be very good there. So what are Liverpool up to at the moment? Do we know? What are they in the market for? And Gakpo potentially leaving? What are the chances of that?
Yeah, two attackers likely to come in at Liverpool if Gakpo leaves. One for sure. We know that they'd love to do Bradley Barcola. I was told a few days ago that there's this big gulf in valuation, but it was notable when PSG lost the Champions Trophy last night to Lens. Barcola and Ibrahim Mbaye were both there sitting in the stands. And if Liverpool are to succeed on this one, it's not about just bidding and bidding and bidding. It's about waiting and waiting in the hope that PSG's asking price comes down. So if they offer encouragement, a bit like Newcastle and Alexander Isak towards the end of the window, then Liverpool will be there. But if there remains this 170 million euros asking price, then Liverpool will have to explore other targets. And it will be fascinating now whether Liverpool try and dive in ahead of the new Premier League season, or alternatively, if PSG make them wait until right towards the end of the window, in the hope, basically, that someone's got to flinch first. So if Liverpool wait and wait and wait, their feeling will be that Barcola's in an untenable position because PSG have ultimately added Ferran Torres, Mika Götze and Magnus Akliouche. But if they leave it too long, then the window could shut, or PSG could decide we're just going to keep him and wait until 2027. Alternatively, from Liverpool's perspective, if they go now and try and do it early, Paris Saint-Germain might turn around and say, you know, the price, in the hope that Liverpool pay it out of urgency. So this has got to come to a head one way or the other, but Barcola remains Liverpool's top target. It just hasn't been an easy negotiation to date. And Liverpool's entire tactic is around waiting, feeling in control of it because Barcola wants the move, and then hoping that that price comes down in the final days of the window.
I wonder if Arsenal would nip in if Alvarez was a non-starter, but we'll see.
Yeah. The Buardi deal for City, that's a pretty long way down the line. You expecting that to get done next couple of days?
Yeah, today, tomorrow, it's basically agreed almost in principle. Only a few final details remain. And Man City, as it stands anyway, and I don't think this will change when you consider that Rodri and Tiani Reinders have both left, want the Moroccan now. So they had this one price of in and around 100 million euros for an immediate transfer, and a number close to 80 million if it was to be a pre-agreement or a loan back. And City are now in final stage negotiations. The players already agreed to the move, and my expectation is this one gets done, and likely we get clarity on Buardi joining before we get a culmination to the Enzo Fernandez saga.
The interminable Savinho Spurs deal limps on. I mean, he didn't feature yesterday. He's played a lot pre-season, but wasn't involved in the community.
I think it'll happen because they need the money. And they've got the Rodri money, they've got the Reinders money, but if they want to buy Buardi and Fernandez, they need that deal to happen.
Exactly. So you would expect that to get done this week, Ben?
Yeah, not necessarily this week, although the player would like it to be the case. But one of the key things for City is, are they actually going to look at another wide attacker? And that was always the indication from sources that this was not about the financials with Spurs. They've basically had the nuts and bolts of a deal in place for quite some time. It was about wait for Enzo Maresca to approve that he definitely wanted Savinho to go. That part's been done. And for City to scour the market over a replacement, and they, like Al Hilal, have shown an interest in Pedro Neto, and then it would be signed off likely at board level. So Tottenham also might have to be patient, but Savinho's definitely still a concrete possibility, as is Cody Gakpo, and Spurs are going to be busy in the market because they're assessing whether to add a number 9, and Richarlison's future has a question mark over it as well. So there feels like a lot of big 6 clubs at the moment with unfinished business. And then with City and funding it, it's just worth noting they'd already budgeted for Ayub Buadi, so that part's fine. And then Reinders plus Rodri basically equals 120 million, so that would allow them to go for Enzo Fernandez. And then regarding Savinho, the extra money would not necessarily book balance from the midfield revamp. It would more give them that extra bit of flexibility to add that another attacker that I mentioned.
But they want Gusto and Pedro as well. They can't have all our players. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, Pedro Neto. I mean,
he seems to be a big part of what Xabi Alonso wants to do. He's been playing him at wing back. He played on Saturday, played in pre-season. I'd be surprised, but money talks.
Yeah, but it would have to be serious money. So we're not talking about trying to force the player out. He played against Real Sociedad. He's part of the plans if he stays. And if they lose him, then Chelsea have got a lot of players that prefer the left and one less that's very capable on the right. So this is why Chelsea have got a valuation of close to £100 million. City, as I said earlier, have an interest, but Al Hilal also are expected to try and accelerate talks with Chelsea this week, having already made an approach to the player side. And they've added Crescencio Somerville, Simon Francis, ex-Bournemouth technical director working at that club, Richard Hughes expected to join as well. And they're suddenly going for peak-age players. And my information is that Karim Benzema could potentially leave the club as well, whether through a transfer or whether through a contract termination. And Hilal are looking at a number 9, and the links with Ollie Watkins are legitimate as well. So Saudi market hasn't entirely kicked into gear yet, even though we've had a couple of notable signings like Reinders to Al Qadsiya. But I sense in these final 2 weeks we might get a few surprise moves to Saudi. Let's see whether Pedro Neto is one of them, because once again, if Chelsea's valuation isn't met, they're more than happy to keep.
Do you think Adam Wharton will still be a Palace player at the end of this window?
It's an interesting one because I'm surprised. No real bids or approaches. It's so late in the window. Crystal Palace's perspective is that they don't now want to lose or entertain offers for the player, and that's natural. And yet, could we see a twist? Potentially. So City sources, even though they discussed him before the window opened, downplay that they're going to move for him in central midfield, even though he'd be somewhat more economical comparative, say, to a double swoop for Buadi and Enzo Fernandez. Man United have had Wharton on their list for quite some time. They're still assessing third midfielders. Earlier in the window, it was said to me by a source that he's too similar in profile to Kobbie Mainoo, but now Man United have to assess, do they want nothing or somebody? And Carrick has said that more depth is needed. And of course, Chelsea have got a long-standing interest in Adam Wharton. They bid, by the way, let's not forget, for Alex Scott as well earlier in the window too. So there will be clubs this late in the window from the Premier League in particular looking for a central midfielder, but it has been all quiet so far on the Adam Wharton front, which, as I say, has caught me a bit by surprise.
A lot will hinge on the Fernandes deal as well.
Yeah.
So if that went through, they would probably make a bid for either of those.
And anything else on the Manchester United front finally, Ben?
Well, we know that they want to add. We know that ideally left-back, central midfield, maybe a number 9 as well. Joshua Zirkzee and Juventus could still be one to watch between now and the end of the window. We have the youngster from Leicester, Page, Man United ahead of Arsenal in that particular race. So he could potentially be a first-team player as well, or somebody that is part of the first-team squad and gets a few opportunities throughout the course of the season. If Manchester United have a long and successful campaign, it might be up to 70 games. And then over on that left-hand side, Lewis Hall not looking likely, but they'd love him if they could possibly get him. Miles Lewis-Skelly was offered to Man United, even though Arsenal sources are adamant they didn't do it directly and the player wants to stay. He again did excellent in the Community Shield and started that game. So maybe that saga's over. It was suggested to me, by the way, that maybe the indirect willingness of Arsenal to offer Miles Lewis-Skelly was tied to the magnitude of finances necessary to do Vinny Jr. So as soon as that deal ended, perhaps now Miles Lewis-Skelly is not a player that Arsenal will be as keen to offload at the right number. But Man United still likely to make at least one signing, if not two, between now and the close of the window. But they're going to have to get a move on, because in the last few weeks there's been relative transfer limbo, and I think fans will view it as a disappointing summer if they don't add a couple more.
Yeah, they've only spent 83 minutes, sounds mad to say only, but compared to other clubs, it's not so much.
Thank you, Ben. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks a lot.
So we've got kick-off tonight with Adrian Durham, Stuart Pearce and Darren Lewis. I'm sure there'll be plenty of transfer chat this evening. Before that, Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent back together again with Drive. We're going to talk a bit of cricket next. I think it's fair to say it's probably one of the biggest upsets in Test history for Bangladesh to go to Australia and win a Test match in the manner that they did. They are smarting over in Australia, and we're going to cross there very, very shortly to assess the mood. We're here with Tool Station. Only got time for one stop. First stop, Tool Station.
Joe, very satisfying. Bit of a statement. Just remember, it's only a glorified friendly.
First of all, I want to say a big good morning to the talkSPORT listeners. It's a fantastic Monday morning, isn't it? It is for sure. Listen, guys, Jeff, Ali, who's going to beat us this season? You tell me. Who is going to take over in the city of London? Who?
On that evidence, nobody.
Nobody.
Right. But
Chelsea.
I think Chelsea will get...
It's premature, Jeff. It's premature.
It's premature. You're saying who's going to beat us?
We've won the trophy available to win.
Yeah.
We've done it.
It's difficult for you guys not to get carried away after that. But at the same time, I wouldn't be overly worried about Manchester City's performance. Although, with the golf in that particular game, I would be slightly concerned.
Ali, I have to add, it is time to get excited. It's time to get super excited, because I don't think there's a time in the league where it's been more open for us to dominate. I mean, if you look at Liverpool, Areola, we don't know what he's going to do. You're talking about Alonso. We're raving about a manager, and you've seen the ins and outs of Chelsea. It's not even stable there yet. I've just seen recently that Nicholas Jackson, who's been one of their best players in the pre-season, he's in the bomb squad with Liam Delap. You turn around, you look at Man City, it's looking shaky. You look at Aston Villa. There's no point you getting me in the morning with Gabby anymore. There's no point. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing, Gabby. I'm not going to see you again, mate. We're that far gone.
Later on in the show, we'll be looking at maybe some of the other transfer stories, but involving players that could be heading from Europe. A bit of a scouting report on some of those players you could have been linked with. Andy Brassel will be joining us of Trans-Europe Express fame. And later on, we'll talk City with seasoned City watcher Bill Burrows, who will tell us whether he's concerned with what he saw yesterday or not. But before all of that, cricket. And as we said, as big a shock as you've ever had in the world of Test cricket, with Bangladesh going to Australia and beating them in a Test match. I guess there's been a fair bit of soul-searching and navel-gazing from the players and the selectors and the Australian public. Let's cross there now. Barrett Sundaresan is an Australia-based cricket journalist and broadcaster, joins us now. Hi, Barrett.
Hello, boys. It's the day after what I would safely call the greatest upset in Test match history, and I don't think we've been able to get our head around what just happened over the last 4 days, because it was probably the most perfect Test match I've seen any team play. Forget about the fact that it's Bangladesh coming here after 23 years and teaching Australia a lesson.
They absolutely thrashed Australia, didn't they? I mean, could you put it down to sort of early season complacency? What do you think happened?
I think I would start by just giving credit to Bangladesh, really, because if you just look at how the Test match progressed, I almost feel like it's a blueprint for how to win a Test match they just found in a laboratory somewhere, because day one, their fast bowlers dominated. Then it was their turn for their batters to dominate. Day three, the tail wagged. And on day four, the spinner took 5 wickets. So it doesn't get better than that. And Australia threw everything at them from a bowling sense, but Bangladesh was just better. The issues for Australia, though, lie with their batting, and they did get exposed badly on day one. And then from that point on, they were just playing catch up. So the fact that there's this crazy 12 months coming up where they're going to play 20 tests from this point on, and it started this way, it is not a good sign. And yes, Australia is up in arms against their cricket team.
Yeah, Labuschagne is a strange one, hasn't he? Started his Test career so well, but he's kind of fallen off a cliff, hasn't he, his form?
Oh, massively. I mean, when you think of anyone, for that matter, like averaging 62 at one point when he was #1 batter in the world alongside Joe Root, or he just pipped Joe Root when England came here for the 21-22 Ashes. And the fact that his average has dropped from 62 to 44 is a long way down. And it takes a while for that average to drop that low as well. And last year, they dropped him when they went to the Caribbean. It felt like that's the break he needed. He went back to domestic cricket, made runs, didn't have a great Ashes. This year, he was looking very confident coming into this Test match. But 2 failures later, you wonder where his career is going now. And what I would say is if you compare him with Jake Weatherall, the opener who made his debut in the Ashes and really hasn't taken to Test cricket the way these guys wanted to, at least with him, you can have buyer's remorse because it's happened so recently that you brought him in. But with Manas, it's a long-term investment. So the last thing you want is if you drop him, then it turns into a bad investment, and that'll have implications on so many other things around Australian cricket and this Test team in particular.
What about the bowling, though? One of the lads in the office saying, these bowlers are approaching, I mean, they've all been great, the Cummins, Lyon, but they are getting to the wrong end of their careers, aren't they?
I mean, they certainly are, right? I mean, they're most of them on the wrong side of the 35 or the other side of 35. Athletes don't like to be, or don't like us saying wrong side of anything. But Pat Cummins is still in his early 30s. But with Mitch Stark and Josh Hazlewood, it feels like they're just getting better and better, stronger and stronger. And Josh Hazlewood played his first Test match in over a year. He took 6 wickets, became the 4th of the quartet to get 300 Test wickets. But I guess Nathan Lyon, question marks are being asked about him. He's 39. He's the oldest of the lot. He was left out of the last 2 pink ball tests that Australia played. And he was neutralized by Bangladesh. They play spin well, but they completely nullified his impact. And the last 5-wicket haul he took was early 2024. So with the 12 months coming up and the 5 Test match series in India as well, they'll want him there, but how do they get him to that point is remains to be seen. And do they even play him in Mackay, where we go next from here?
Where does this leave Bangladesh about as a kind of Test playing nation? They often struggle to get. We've got a one-off Test, I think, with them next year. So do you think attitudes will change? I mean, I know it's only one game, but it was, as you said, it was a great performance, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hope attitudes change. The fact that Australia made them wait for 23 years and said, hey, you're not good enough to play on our shows. And then they've come back and beaten them after nearly a quarter of a century in the first opportunity that they've got. And even India and England, I think overall have been unfair on them. England will host them for the first time in nearly 17 years when they play that one-off test next year. India brought them into the test match world, but they waited 17 years before they hosted Bangladesh. Now they play against them a bit more often. And just to put this win into context, India won in Australia 2 back-to-back series. But if you leave India out, the last Asian country to win a test match in Australia was Pakistan in 1995. So this is a remarkable effort from this Bangladesh team. And I hope this is the fillip that they need to be taken seriously by the rest of the world and hopefully, get invited here more often.
Barrett, we really appreciate you joining us. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
There's Barrett Sundaresan there over in Adelaide with that incredible result. Well done to Bangladesh.
Brilliant. Yeah, good for them.
It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Aroni and Danta joins us.
If they were beating
No, you'd be. You're so bitter. It doesn't matter who beats him. We'll be patting them on the back then. And Danta joins us. He has his autobiography out. We'll be having a chat about that. Andy Brassel will guide us around Europe. Some of the big stories. We'll find out more about Scotland's new boss and some of the other deals that could get done. Players maybe heading from Europe to the Premier League and beyond. And a little bit later on, we'll look ahead to our game on talkSPORT 2 tonight, Cardiff versus Wrexham in the Championship. Steve Morrison, former Cardiff coach, will be joining us for a chat. That's all to come.
Another one or two players in Man United in with a shout at the title. What do you think, Gabby?
No, I think Champions League will take a lot out of that squad of players. I look at right backs, Mazraoui, Dalot, not good enough. Centre backs, they need cover there as well. Shesko, listen, he done okay last season, double figures. He's got to be at it this season. They've got a very good squad of players, Jeff, but if they don't get 2 or 3 top players in certain roles, I don't think they can fight for the title. I think top 4 again and get out of the group stage of the Champions League will be a very good season.
Yeah, I mean, they've not been too busy in the transfer market, to say the least. They've brought in Yuri Tielemans, they've brought in Andre Santos. Ben Foster thinks one of those is the signing of the summer.
I still think Yuri Tielemans is the signing so far.
What a better business that is.
What a bit of business. Yeah. Honestly, I genuinely still think, I'm watching a load of transfers happen and, Tottenham spending a lot of money and Arsenal just spent a lot of money. I still think Yuri Tielemans is the signing of the summer so far. For 30-odd million quid, whatever it was, he is a ready-made, good-to-go starting 11 player. And I think if you can spend £30 million on a ready-to-go starter, it is worth every single penny.
Yeah. And I agree with him. I think Yuri Tielemans is going to be one of the signings of the summer. But when I look at that midfield, talent is Tielemans and Bruno Meno and Andre Santos. That's just too thin on the ground, isn't it? They need more than that.
Players get injured as well. And where's their real defensive midfielder? I know Andre Santos has been brought in for that role, but he didn't pull up any trees at Chelsea, did he? Where's their, Villa got Bouba Kamara. You look at Anderson, Gravenberch.
talkSPORT Sports Update with NordVPN. Connect and protect your online traffic with our most advanced VPN.
Yeah, good afternoon. Martin Keown says Man City's below-par performance in the Community Shield was a big wake-up call for the club.
they looked a little bit lost yesterday. And then so a Rodri leaving the football club later on in the day. You know, you've lost De Bruyne, Gundogan, the Stones is gone, Bernardo Silva. These are big losses from the football club, so there will be concern.
As for Arsenal, Simon Jordan says the club are benefiting from the stability brought by Mikel Arteta.
To me, it's no surprise that Arsenal won. They're not a club in transition. They're in a club in ascent. They've got a stable base. They've got a group of players that have performed very well last year and won the Premier League and got that monkey off their backs. They've got some knowledge behind them now. They're now winners.
So with Rodri on his way to Barcelona, we're told City are close to the signing of Ayoub Bouadi from Lille. Here's our senior football correspondent, Ben Jacobs.
City are now in final stage negotiations. The players already agreed to the move, and my expectation is this one gets done, and likely we get clarity on Bouadi joining before we get a culmination to the Enzo Fernandez saga.
Elsewhere, talkSPORT understands Spurs keeper Vicario is on his way to Juventus on loan, and Chelsea want $100 million for Pedro Neto, who's drawn interest from Saudi side Al Hilal. For all the latest transfer news, go to our website talksport.com. And new Scotland head coach Sebastian Pocognoli says he's looking to build on the foundations built by Steve Clarke.
When you think about Scotland, you think that they are back on the map with World Cup and big tournaments. So that's for me a strong foundation that I have to use it.
The former Monaco and Union Saint-Gilloise boss has signed a 2-year contract.
talkSPORT News.
Reform UK says they will ban foreigners living in Britain from claiming benefits, and grassroots football could be caught in the drought squeeze just as the new season kicks off. Emma's got more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Cloudy with outbreaks of rain in the north. Further south, feeling warm and humid as hazy sunshine develops. Expect more showers across the country later this week.
Good afternoon, it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. We're in the second hour. Ian Danter will join us, our very own, and he has his autobiography out, telling the story, not just his talkSPORT years, but those before that.
He's one of our own.
He certainly is. Only Danter is the title of the book. And
he's a multi-talented man.
He certainly is, yeah. Musician, commentator, impressionist. So Dance takes us through the story a bit later on. And we will be joined by Jonathan Joshua, who was involved in that train stabbing in Cambridge last year. He just got this great move to Scunthorpe United when it happened. And he's rebuilding his life after that. Unfortunately, he didn't get a new contract at Scunthorpe. So I think he's looking for a new club. But he's popping in to see us today for a conversation. And a little bit later on, we'll be talking a bit of rugby league. There's been talk of NRL getting involved, Aussie involvement in the world of Super League over here, but it seems they are apart on the numbers for what they feel that the Super League involvement is worth, which could have a bit of a knock-on effect. And Jeremiah Azu will be joining us well. 2 golds and a silver
Pretty
at
impressive.
The European Championship Team GB Sprinter. So we'll be catching up with him a little bit later on and talking City. But before all of that, it's time then to get all the latest odds with our good friends at Betfair.
Odds update on talkSPORT with Betfair. Kick off the football season with a completely free ACCA or Bet Builder. Odds of 1.5 or more on a minimum 3-leg bet. T's and C's apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
And Sam Rossbottom from Betfair joins us now. Hi, Sam.
Afternoon, fellas. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. You're not paying out on Arsenal for the Premier League just yet, are you?
Oh well, if you're getting a little bit giddy and carried away like those Arsenal fans, I mean that wouldn't be a surprise, would it? But fortunately, our traders aren't that giddy, and we don't have too many Arsenal fans in the trading team, which is great for me because I am a blue, and yeah, it is a blue Monday for me. I mean, you know, the greatest manager of all times left our club. the greatest player one of the greatest players in world football at the minute is leaving our club this summer, with Rodri going to Barcelona, and bit of a spanking yesterday.
Bernardo Silva, no one's talking about that. He's so key to what City did. I remember watching him last year and thinking, what a brilliant player this bloke really is, and he's a big miss, I think.
Oh, just his longevity as well. Like, he's been doing it for so long, hasn't he, at City? I think, you're right. I think he's going to be a miss as well. But, the talk of them, doing business still now with Rodri to go, this young player from Lille, this midfielder who looked well, didn't he, at the World Cup for Morocco?
Yeah, it's asking a lot, though, for an age.
It is it's asking a lot even of Elliot Anderson, to go in there and say, right, you get on with it. These are the players you're replacing. Yeah, just go and put. I mean, I'm sure that's not the case, but it's big shoes to fill, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly is. Look, obviously yesterday, a disappointment for me, but for Arsenal fans, they'll be absolutely buzzing, won't they? What does it mean for the odds? What has it done to the market? Well, unsurprisingly, Arsenal's chances of winning the Premier League have increased. They're now about a 44% chance of retaining the title, according to Betfair Predicts. That's around 5-4. So they were 9-5 this time last week, so the odds shortening there. That's about 36% chance. So, Arsenal fans will be pretty happy. They've obviously lifted one piece of silverware. Can they add to that this season? Well, I've got to say the odds are suggesting that they're going to win at least another trophy. They are 1-2 to win any of the Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup or Champions League. And for the giddy Arsenal fans, 90-1 for them to do the quadruple. But
I'll have a bit of that.
I'm going to say 3 words. Community Shield curse.
Yes, that's true. The team
in recent years.
Yeah, they were saying yesterday on commentary, the team that's won the Community Shield. Only once in the last 15 years, something like that. So,
okay,
exactly. But you've gone on to win it. But the only thing I can give Arsenal higher than 44% there, because everybody else is in transition. And they're the steadiest. Not only they're the best team, but they're also in the best position.
They've added some good players as well, haven't they, this transfer window? I think Bruno Guimaraes, she's just an experienced head, isn't he? And I think you look at, certainly for City, obviously Rodrigo in his experience and just where he is at the minute in world football, that's going to be a big miss. Being replaced with players, okay, Anderson is Premier League experience, but like you said, this lad from Lille who they're looking to come in isn't that experienced. So I think it could be an ask, and I think Arsenal, like you say, at 44% chance at the start of the season. I think those chances will only increase as the season goes on.
How much did City drift before and after the game yesterday? Do you know, Sam?
Yeah, a little bit. There has been a bit of a drift on City. I mean, they are second favourites at 5-4. They're now a 21% chance. That's come down quite a few percentage points there. So there has been a bit of a drift. I mean, I just think it was the manner of the performance as well, wasn't it? Really, they didn't look sharp at all. They looked a little bit sloppy. I think there's excuses to be made about players at the World Cup and stuff like that. But look, that's the same for Arsenal, isn't it? And they looked sharp. They look on it, and they looked really determined to make a bit of a statement and put a marker down.
So we've got one remaining game in the Championship this evening, and it's Cardiff v Wrexham. I mean, Cardiff back up, and Wrexham obviously pretty close to.
That's going to be a good atmosphere.
To the top last season. So what about the odds on this one?
Yeah, this should be an absolute cracker, this game, shouldn't it? I mean, Welsh derby with Cardiff hosting Wrexham. The odds are quite tight, to be honest with you. There's not much splitting the two, but it is Cardiff who are currently 6-4, Wrexham 7-4. They're drawing that one 12-5. It is the first league meeting between these two for quite some time. You have to go back to 2001, 2002, the last time they met in the league. But they did meet, didn't they, in the 4th round of the League Cup last season, and Cardiff got the better of Wrexham then. In fact, actually, when you look at the form book, it's not great for Wrexham. They've lost their last 3 against their Welsh rivals in that one. You mentioned their Wrexham season last time out, they were close, weren't they? And everybody's talking about Wrexham, Premier League, Hollywood story. Can they do it this season? They're 9-2 to be promoted. They were really close, weren't they, to the playoffs? But they had that poor run at the end of the season. They won just 2 of their last 7 games. So they're going to be hoping for a win tonight, aren't they? Put that bad form from back end of last season behind them and get off to a winning start. They're 7-4 to get the result in this one tonight, but it should be an absolute cracker. And what a way to finish a brilliant weekend of Championship football and a brilliant weekend for the punters as well. We got taken to the cleaners, to be honest with you, at the weekend. There were over 50 punters who won £1,000 or more.
Oh wow! Really?
With results in the EFL over the weekend. Yeah, we had one punter who had a 4-fold ACCA, correct score ACCA, £2 stake, returned just short of £13,000.
Wow.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind a look into his crystal ball.
Yeah,
to see how things are going to go.
Should take him on, give him a job.
Impressive.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sam. We'll catch up with you soon. All the best.
Cheers, guys. Catch you later.
Sam Rossbottom there from Betfair. You can get all the latest offers at betfair.com. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Odds update on talkSPORT with Betfair. Kick off the football season with a completely free ACCA or bet builder. Odds of 1.5 or more on a minimum 3-leg bet. T&Cs apply. 18+, gambleaware.org.
We want your knee-jerk reactions to what's gone on over the weekend. Knee-jerk reaction, says Mark in Durham, Sunderland will win the lot. After Lons beat PSG last night and we beat Lons last week.
Okay.
You cannot argue with stats.
That's good logic.
Yeah, good logic, Mark. We'll see how that pans out
Never
for you.
works out like that, though, does it?
Stephen from Coatbridge, just outside Glasgow, says, on your comment, Paul, that Spurs can't go from 17th to 1st, I've proceeded to have a little flutter at 28-1 on Spurs winning the league. Are you mad, Stephen? I'm not even a Tottenham supporter. But suddenly I'm in De Zerbi we trust. I mean, that would be a goal. That would be a Leicester proportion.
I do see them top 4, top 6. I do.
Depending on the rest of the business they need to do. They're very short up front at the moment. They need a bit more depth.
Pre-season. There's a lot of belief there now.
I watched them twice over the weekend. Under Daniel Levy, they've got a thing called Spurs Play, which allows us to watch pre-season friendlies. And despite the fact I've been a season ticket holder for too many years now, they wanted me to pay about 35 quid a year for that. So I decided not to. I thought I'd forego pre-season friendlies. But now we get it as part of our season ticket. So I watched the Hoffenheim game and also watched the behind closed doors friendly yesterday lunchtime with 2 completely different teams.
Who did they play yesterday?
They played Hoffenheim.
I played them again.
Hoffenheim twice, yeah. They came over and played them a couple of times. But they got a decision to make on young Mikey Moore, who was playing off the right.
Yeah,
and they were going to send him out on loan, but he scored a couple of goals and played really well. So they with Kudus not back yet by the look of it.
Yeah, and he has a touch of the hazards about him. I think he's
he's a good player. He's good. He probably does. How much football he's going to get if he stays, but this year anyway.
You've got a lot of people that can do that job. The latest thing in social media is shark selfies.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Is this
people completely mad?
I did see.
There's a warning saying, don't try and take a selfie with a shark.
They've had quite a few social media influencers getting bitten.
I know.
I mean, not fatally, but it's pretty nasty.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, the smartest thing to do, is it? Just put your arm in their mouth. So, Andy Brussell's going to join us. We'll find out. I'm going to find out a little bit more about the new Scotland manager, because he would have seen him in action, of course, in the dugout around Europe. But look at some of the other big stories of the day and find out a little bit more about Buadi and that move to the Premier League, how he thinks he'll fare in the blood and thunder of a Premier League midfield. So Andy Brassel up next. We're here with Tool Station, open from 7 a.m. Monday to Saturday. Grab what you need, get on site, get it done. First stop, Tool Station.
Gabby Agbonlahor, who joined myself and Drive on Monday, I asked him if he thought Arsenal are to win the league. Yeah, I do, yeah. I think it's done, mate.
Do you?
Yeah.
We think it's over?
Yeah, it's over, mate.
Really?
Yeah. They're that strong, man. They went and brought in Guimaraes as well, mate. Come on.
Yeah, I hear you, all right, and I probably don't want to admit it yet.
Yeah.
We ain't even kicked a ball.
I know.
They're the only settled football club in the league.
Exactly.
Right? That's what they've got going for them. What do you make of that? Do you feel like, look, you're an Arsenal fan? They had a great season last season.
Yeah.
Are they? They're the team to beat.
I think of course they're the Premier League champions. They're the favourites, but I wouldn't sit here today, no chance, and say, it's ours easy. No way whatsoever, because there's so many factors last season. I mean, Arsenal finally got over the line. They played a productive way that maybe for some people, I didn't actually mind it. I quite enjoyed watching it, but there were some people that said that they stunk the place out in terms of the way that they played the game, but they did what they needed to get over the line.
Well, they did stink the place out.
Well, no, you didn't.
Well, they did.
How?
Well, they stunk the Premier League out.
You can't stink it out and win it.
No, you can.
No, you can stink it out and finish fourth bottom. Hey, I tell you that. You can do that.
You did stink it out. No, like, you brought the level of fun down in the Premier League.
For a Gooner, it wasn't.
Oh, come on. It was turgid, some of the football.
Listen, I loved it, right?
Did you really? You'd hate to play in that team.
No, I wouldn't. What, Premier League winners medal? I wouldn't.
You want to see a bit more exciting football.
People say this.
Like, come on, you've won it now. Arteta's won it. Play a bit more exciting stuff.
People say that, right? Arsenal still scored 71 goals in the league last year. Only Man City scored more. Hawksbee Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Andy Goldstein, Darren Bent back together at 4 with Drive. But it's time to head around Europe now with European football expert from talkSPORT's very own Trans Europe Express. It's Andy Brassel. Hi, Andy.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. I think all Scotland fans will be interested to get your take on Sebastian Pugnoli and the job he might do for Scotland based on what you saw as a coach in European football.
My feeling's a little bit split because I think the initial one is one of excitement. It's not a name that I imagined would be in the frame going back a few weeks, and it's not one that I imagined Scotland getting. So it's a name of profile who has been a coveted coach in the very recent past. Now, I think covering the other side of it, it didn't go great at Monaco last season. I don't know which coach could have made it go better. But I think he leapt before he looked a little bit. He went into a sticky situation that he didn't really have much chance of turning around. He would have been better off staying with Union Saint-Gilloise. Of course, he was only in his second season there, so he's still a relatively inexperienced head coach. But I think there are two things that make me feel optimistic. Firstly, the fact that he's got experience at international level before, having worked with Belgium at age group level. So he understands, and you got that, I think, from his opening press conference, the idea that he wants to bring players through and look at the pathway as well, which I have to say is the key thing really for any international coach at the moment, an understanding of how the whole model and how the whole escalator works. I think that's super important. And I think the other thing is when he came in as first team coach at Union Saint-Gilloise, of course, winning the Belgian league in his first year, he didn't try to change too much. He made a sort of incremental change, really. Now, look, I know other people will look at it and say, it's other people's work. But look, he got them over the line where others couldn't. And I think really that's the next step for Scotland. I know Steve Clarke's been under a lot of pressure because of what happened at various championships and that they didn't turn up in the finals of Euro 2024 and World Cup 2026 like the fans wanted them to. But like Steve Clarke did a lot of good work, again, as Pocagnoli acknowledged, getting them to qualify in the first place and getting that to become a matter of course. So really taking them on to the next step is something that he's done with the team before.
Yeah, it's quite a bold appointment, isn't it? So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. Buardi looks like it's edging ever closer to that City move. A lot of weight on the shoulders of an 18-year-old. Really expecting to be the new Rodri. So do you expect him to hit the ground running? Do you expect a bit of a period of adjustment?
I think he'll be fine. I think the question really is over the composition of the Manchester City midfield. What's it going to look like? Who's going to be the leader? That's really the question. There's no doubt that there's an enormous amount of talent in there, and Buardi will definitely add to that. If you're talking about him personally dealing with pressure, well, bear in mind that he was ushered into the Lille first 11 for a game against Real Madrid in the Champions League the day after his 17th birthday, and he was the best player on the pitch. So if we're talking about not just the talent, but the ability to step up on the big occasion, he'll deal with that, no problem. He's very athletic, he's very versatile, he's got better. I think he stayed at Lille the appropriate amount of time because immediately after that game and other performances in the Champions League, where they won away at Atletico, for example, just after that, people were looking at him straight from there. But I think he did the right thing, staying, playing last season as well, helping them get into the Champions League. So look, he's going to be an asset going forward for Manchester City. But I think if you look at that City midfield at the moment, it sort of makes me think of Real Madrid a lot and how they've moved on from their legendary midfield. And if you think over the last couple of seasons, the fact that City, they'll be losing Rodri, having lost Bernardo Silva, having lost Gundogan, going back a couple of years as well. Of course, he came back briefly. I think that's really, really hard to do. And you look at Real Madrid, in terms of the talent they've got, and if you look at Tchouaméni, if you look at Camavinga, if you look at Valverde, if you look at Jude Bellingham, it's all great, but part of their defensive problem has been not getting the right midfield together. Now, sometimes that's been a case of fitness, but that's going to be the challenge for Manchester City. It's all very well saying you've got the talent to go in there, but how do you make a unit out of it, and how do you follow a unit that helped you to dominate Europe?
Yeah, true, and no Pep, which is a factor, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
Yes, a huge factor, of course.
Yeah. The La Liga table has an unfamiliar look, doesn't it, with Alaves and Espanyol top of the table, but there is a reason for that, and isn't there?
Yeah, there is. So it's a sort of soft launch of La Liga. No Real Madrid, no Atletico, no Barcelona this weekend for the first weekend of the La Liga season, which you may think is a bit weird. Well, it's because the league gave teams an option to not play on the first weekend if they had players who were at the World Cup going up to the semi-finals or beyond. So all those teams took advantage of that. Atletico are making their debut against Malaga on Wednesday, and of course they've got a few moving parts. Of course, Cuti Romero's just arrived. So it meant you got a few different headliners, as you say, and Tyrese Dolan, who looks like he's been muscling up over the summer. He looks like sort of second season Gareth Bale, former Blackburn winger, of course. He scored a great goal as Espanyol won their game. Pochettino was in the crowd watching his old club, by the way. And you also had Robbie Ewer, who's just come over, the Rangers youth product, having scored a lot of goals with Sirius in the Allsvenskan in Sweden. He signed for Sevilla in the week. you won't see many better debuts than that. He came on at half-time with Sevilla losing 1-0, really put himself about up front, and very, very controversially won the penalty from which they won the game right at the end as well, put away by Peque. So he's made an instant impact.
We should talk a bit about PSG as well. That we had the equivalent of the Community Shield in France, and
they're never great. They weren't great against Villa. Then this isn't their time of year, is it?
Agreed.
No, that's true.
Agreed. I think Andy's absolutely right. I think they're there in name, but they're not quite there in body and spirit yet, are they? It's clear that they're going to take a while. I think probably until about September, until they're getting in the right spot. I mean, Lens though are an incredible story. If you think they finished second, and the final table doesn't show how good they were last season. They forced PSG to. They kept them honest most of the season, really, and they were really in the title race. With the 10th budget in the league, then they lost Pierre Sage to Crystal Palace. They lost a load of key players, including Sangare, of course, has come to the Premier League as well. And they've done what they tend to do and gone out and picked up other people's cast-offs, and they look really good again. Florian Thauvin, who of course didn't have a great time in England, he was brilliant for them last season. He scored the winning goal. They went down to 10 men quite controversially when their young defender Kylian Antonio was sent off in the first half, and yet they managed to tough it out, and they're well worth their win.
Is the expectation that Bradley Barcola will leave almost certainly before the window closes?
Yeah, there is, Paul, and I think you look at not just the window they've had so far, PSG, but what they've done this weekend. Of course, Ferran Torres officially signed on Friday. Mika Hertz of Ajax, who plays exactly in Barcola's position on the left-hand side, cutting in. He's come in, so he will be carrying the drinks for Krisha Kvaratskhelia in front in going forward, you imagine. But you think they've brought those two in, and they've brought in Magnus Akliouche as well. I mean, that only tells you that things are going one way. It's not to say that the Barcola deal is going to happen in the next couple of days, but the expectation is they're going to move him when they hit the right price.
And over in Turkey in the opening weekend, two of the big boys didn't get wins, did they?
No, they didn't. Galatasaray surprisingly dropping points to Çorum, and newly promoted on Friday night. And a goal and a sending off in that one for Alexandros Kyriakos, who has just come over from Hearts. He scored a brilliant goal from 25 yards out and then got sent off for a second booking, so they couldn't quite hold on to the lead they had in the end. And Fenerbahce have got this huge Champions League qualifier against Lyon starting this week. They've got a home leg in Istanbul tomorrow night. They went to Gençlerbirliği and left out a couple of players, lost 2-1. They still had the team that should have closed out a win. But of course, every point you lose in the Turkish Super League, where one of two teams tends to win it, or one of one team tends to win it in recent times. It makes it very, very difficult. And there's obviously a big load of hand wringing every time you drop a point.
I wonder what might happen with Osman. He's still there. They must be paying him an absolute fortune, because nobody else seems to be able to afford him. Although Premier League clubs would love him.
They would, but if we look at it, Andy, the offer that Chelsea tentatively made him when he was last on the market, when he was still at Napoli, was less than a quarter of what Galatasaray are paying him. To put that into some sort of perspective.
Yeah,
the only player who's paid more than him in the Super League is Mo Salah, who's obviously just arrived and is an international superstar on an even bigger scale, I think we can say, than Victor Osimhen. So if Osimhen really wanted to move, and there've been rumours that he's not been happy about their lack of action in the transfer market. Of course, Fenerbahce have been very busy, but Fenerbahce need to catch up, and they haven't won the league for 10 years. So, of course, they're busy in the transfer market under a new president. If that was to happen, Osimhen would have to make the mother of all financial sacrifices to get himself into the Premier League or anywhere else in Europe.
So your gut feeling is he's not going anywhere. He'll still be in Turkey once the window closes.
Well, are you coming in tomorrow for a quarter of your money?
No.
Who knows?
Well, we might have
to, Andy.
Good luck.
Yeah. Good to chat to you as always. Thanks very much.
Thanks, you guys.
As Andy Brassel there for some of the big stories from around Europe. Trans-Europe Express, always a good listen on a Sunday night for a deeper dive into the world of European football, and even more lively now Jose's back at Madrid. I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a soap opera. Ian Danter joins us next. We can talk football, but we're going to talk about him because he has written his autobiography, and it's out now in an audio book as well, which I believe he has narrated. But Danter will be joining us for a chat to tell us about that in a few moments' time.
In the traditional thought process of who's going to challenge Arsenal, they're all in a form of transition. They're all in. Liverpool have got to rebuild.
So you telling me Arsenal will win it again?
Well, you would think that there's a distinct possibility, as Martin rightly says, nothing is easy, and neither should it be, and neither should we hope it is.
Sure.
Right? But Arsenal are in the box seat.
Yeah.
And I don't want the narrative to be seedy because he'll start crying about it. But the fact is that you don't want them to still defeat from the jaws of victory because it is theirs to win.
Sure.
They're the defending champions. They're in good nick.
Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that kind of talk.
They're in good nick.
We'll get to some talk with Arsenal fans very shortly,
the
Martin.
narrative talk last season. Four games in last year, we're saying Arsenal had blown it. Yeah. Like, let's not get into all of that. It's theirs to blow. No. They can enjoy now. There's a new armory.
Who said that?
This is a tough. They are winners, Jim. You cannot dispute that this season.
Well, they are. But let me ask you this before we hit the 10:30 break. Arteta's next evolution, are the narratives of boring Arsenal and set-piece FC now being wiped aside?
Well, I'm not sure they were there anyway. Because Arsenal, look, as I say, I didn't care if their winning goal came off
was a strong narrative
the backside
last
of
season.
Gabriel or not. 25 goals from set pieces. Look, whatever way they found to it, they'll be doing all of that again this year. It's every facet of their play. They'll try and pass the ball. Look how well they passed the ball yesterday when they went 2 or 3 goals up. The handbrake came off yesterday, and they got players in the final third.
Well,
that's the next step.
Do you envisage a style change this season?
Well, I think it's a dominance check, really. They were allowed to play football yesterday. This is what you're up against, isn't it? But no, I mean, the manager wants to go to the next step. That is to control games more.
Football fans all have stadiums we love, but do any of us have a pitch we love? It might sound like an odd question, but pitches can be different sizes with big consequences. Why is that? And what are the actual rules behind it? Back when association football started, pitches could be 100 metres wide and 200 metres long. That's longer than Ellen Road. Not the pitch, the stadium. Anyway, UEFA wanted a standard across Europe, which became 105 metres long and 68 metres wide. But some clubs had been rebels, not intentionally, but because of the stadiums. Take Highbury, for example. It was 5 metres shorter and a metre narrower, meaning away sides had a challenge just to adjust. Today, Forest Pitch at the City Ground is a big one, 2 metres wider than others. But the smallest of all? Craven Cottage, just 100 metres long and 65 metres wide. There are a couple of crazy outliers in Europe too, such as Napoli's home ground, the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, where the pitch is a whopping 110 metres long. So UEFA have their standards, so do the FA, but they give pitches in England some wiggle room. Pitches can be anywhere between 90 and 120 metres long, between 45 and 90 metres wide. Just imagine a pitch that's 120 metres long and 45 wide. Madness. So there you have it. There is a standard size and most teams do generally follow it. But as we all know, size doesn't matter, does it?
It's Hawksbee and Jacobs here on talkSPORT. I think the last time we spoke to a talkSPORT presenter who'd written their autobiography was Alan Brazil.
Oh, really?
I remember Alan saying, "It's a great book, I really enjoyed reading it. I forgot." I think, having been a touch more hands-on, is our next guest.
I'd say so.
Ian Danter has written Only Danter, A Life in Broadcasting, and he joins us now. Hello, Dance.
Hello, gentlemen. Yeah, no ghostwriters here.
Is that only banter, only Danter? Is that the idea of the title?
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah. That was the genesis of that idea. Yes, most definitely.
Well, it's been a long and varied career, hasn't it? Was this always a dream to sort of work in broadcasting, Dance? I mean, you wanted to be a rock and roll star, didn't you? You still are,
Yeah.
of course.
Oh, yeah. I had 10 years in my adult life of thinking I was going to be a rock star. And then you have that moment of clarity in your late 20s when you realise I'm not going to make it. It's not going to happen, despite my very best efforts. I had a lot of fun trying. And there's another book in that, frankly, that I could write about the adventures I had trying to make it as a musician. And then completely by chance, I was working as a guitar salesman, but my best friend to this day, Keith Laurent, wrote a letter to Tom Ross, who you guys know at the time. He was head of sport at BRMB. And he said, my mate Ian does a great impression of Trevor Francis down the pub. You should get him on radio. And it all stemmed from that moment, from a phone call I subsequently got from Tom whilst I was working at the guitar shop. And within 3 years, I'm working as the drive time presenter on BRMB radio in Birmingham.
So you were doing, it was like a comedy show, afternoon show you did, and you also had, so the kind of football side of things, when did that start to take on a life of its own, Nance?
About a year after I'd got into broadcasting, because my first job was going up in what was called the Flying Eye. Was the travel plane that went, 1,500 feet around the Birmingham city centre and the motorway network. So that was my job. But about a year after that, Tom conscripted me to go as a reporter to go and watch Walsall against Chesterfield at the Bescot Stadium. So this is early 1999, and I'd never done it before. I had very little training. Tom just trusted his gut that I'd know what to do. And Chesterfield ran out with a dark blue strip with like a light pinstripe and cherry numbers that I couldn't read. And I was having to do off-air commentary, and the first 15 minutes were just so dismal because I couldn't work out who was who in the Chesterfield side. But that was how I started my reporting career. And within about, I would say, 18 months of that, I was commentating for the station.
Because you've got these different strings you commentate, you present, you commentate on darts and football. I know you've got a great love of cricket from your dad, who played with Jack Bannister. So you do have a lot of strings to your bow, as well as all the music side of it.
Yes, I still love music. I've just finished recording what will be my fourth solo album. There's the book for the people watching on the telly. You can find that on your shelves. And there's also an audio book that I voiced. Stephen Fry was a tad pricey, so I thought, I'll do it. So you can get that at your usual audiobook providers for Only Dancer, as well as Amazon Waterstones and all that. And do leave a positive review if you are buying it off Amazon. That always helps. But so I've just been in a studio in South Wales for 2 weeks to record and complete a fourth solo album, which will hopefully be out before the end of the year. Because I still love playing guitar, drums mainly. I mean, drums is my main thing, but singing, playing keyboards, guitar, writing songs, being creative. It's still that buzz of being creative and coming up with something from scratch. I still absolutely adore it from a musical point of view.
And we shouldn't forget your impression.
I was about to bring that up.
You talk about audio books. You did Steve Bruce. His book for us during COVID, which the listeners loved, we loved as well.
There's a few stories of how your impressions have got you into trouble. There was one with Trevor Francis. You were doing the impression, and Trevor was worried that people would think it was you. But
is this where I do the Peter Shilton go? It's in the book. This was a story where I still do parody songs now because I still work for a rock station, and I do parody songs every week. But I was doing a parody of Don't Bring Me Down by ELO. And the idea was that Trevor, who is no longer Birmingham manager, was rather than getting a bit of schadenfreude out the fact that Birmingham weren't going to stay in the Premier League very long. So I changed the title to You're Going Down and changed the lyrics around. I think Trevor was passing through the Birmingham area, listening to the radio station that afternoon on his way to a Monday night game for Sky, heard this song, heard his voice coming out the radio, and rang Tom Ross, who he was very good friends with immediately. He said, I don't know about this. I heard Ian on the radio, and people are going to think it's me. And Tom had to say to him, "Hey, no, Trev, no, they don't think it's you. Don't worry about it." And left it at that. But I did meet Trevor in subsequent years, and although an incredibly shy man, he always was very shy, and I'm amazed he became a manager, but through how shy he truly was in company. But yeah, he was okay with it. Yeah. So I was okay with it.
I loved the late great Graham Taylor. You upset him as well via some. Used to leave voice notes for your for other broadcasters and scribes, wouldn't you? Really, in the style of Graham, and he heard one of them, Dance, didn't he?
I had to do a load of these. I was at a game at Molineux for an England under-21s reporting for talkSPORT. And my Graham Taylor impression had kind of started doing the rounds. And a few of the guys who worked the local beat asked me to do a voiceover. This is Graham Taylor, what you must do after this. Hey, don't hang up, don't hang up. And one of them, David Harrison, who still works at Wolverhampton Wanderers as part of the media staff, he had a phone call from Graham on a different matter a couple of days later, and Dave didn't take the call. It went to voicemail. So Graham hears this voice coming back at him, and he just left this message for Dave. He's like, "Hey, take this message off your phone, okay?" And hung up. So I think it was in jest from Graham's point of view, but that did get me in a bit of trouble.
So the book's out now, Dance.
It is. You can get it Amazon or Waterstones if you want the paperback copy. Not bother with the hardback thing, gone straight to paperback. It's easier to pulp when it doesn't sell.
And the new album's out when?
Well, that's yet to be decided, but the songs are written. But it's going to be called Ian Danter Goes Forth, as it is solo album number 4. So that'll be out for the end of the year.
You'll take Birmingham City going forth, won't you, at the moment, I would imagine?
Goodness me. Well, a battling start on Saturday, getting a point at Sheffield United when we got walloped there last season 3-0. I'll happily take that. We arguably could have nicked it, but I think a point apiece was probably a fair result. A good solid start, and it's going to be a madder division than usual with these 6 playoff places to be fought for as well.
Dance, all the best. Best of luck with the book, and we'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Look after yourselves.
Only Dancer A Life in Broadcasting, published by Pitch. It is out now in paperback, and as Dance said, you can get the audio book, I'm sure, complete with all those impressions, which will be a fun way to listen to it and to sample it. So best of luck to Dance, and I'm sure he'll pop on and play us a few tracks from his new album when the chance comes along. It is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Lots more to come. We'll build up to tonight's live game between Cardiff and Wrexham a little bit later on. We're here with Tool Station. First stop for everything for the job from 7 a.m. Monday to Saturday. Start strong, start it right. First stop, Tool Station.
So, Martin, you've already said that you worry for Manchester City in some way, but I mean, it's the Community Shield. Can you really take the Community Shield as a serious benchmark
I think that's
at
a bit
any time?
disparaging what you're saying. Let me just put it into perspective. So that's a game of honour, right? In terms of it's an honour to play in that football match because what it represents is the 2 most successful teams from the season before. So you walk out there, shoulders back, chest out, and you're proud to be there, okay? You want to win it. Let me tell you want that in your team photograph. That photograph for Arsenal has been held back, and City, for this week, so they can maybe drop in another trophy. Arsenal will have that. You're proud to do it.
So you really value your
It's a dress
Community Shield medal,
100%, 100%. It's a
Really?
dress. Oh, yes. Well, you'll have to take it from me. You've asked me the question. If you don't believe me, then what can I do about that?
Okay.
So I can just tell you how I was, my mindset. Now, really what I enjoyed yesterday was the mindset of the players. So obviously that's born out of the culture within the club. The manager's really pleased. You can see there's been a really good reaction. Ødegaard is back in the building, is ready to go. He's the captain. He's the player whose position's under most threat, and he played a big part in the game yesterday. So let's get that right. But you're right. If you lose the game, you can say it doesn't matter, we're not ready, because it's part of your training.
That's a very point.
But the thing is, it's still a valuable trophy. Whenever we saw Pep win it, wasn't that often, by the way, so we shouldn't be panicking in a Man City situation. They lost 4 of the last 5 Community Shields. You basically look at it and say, okay, it's part of the training, but we'll be ready for the start of the season. Wake-up call for Man City. And I'm saying they need to wake up, Jim, because yesterday they fell below the standards that we've been used to seeing.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Now, our next guest was a young footballer making his way in the game. He just got his best move of his career so far at Scunthorpe United. And last November, he was travelling from Doncaster back home to London and was caught up in the knife attack on the train that was travelling through Cambridge. 11 passengers were seriously injured, including Jonathan Josh, who was stabbed 7 times. He's on the lookout for a new club, and he's here in the studio with us. Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
Yes, all good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
And we always say, how are you? But seriously, how are you? Because you went through a pretty traumatic ordeal, and I'm sure mentally and physically, 7 stab wounds.
Yeah.
And I mean, you might not feel like it from what I read. You were quite lucky from that point of view, weren't you?
Yeah, I was very lucky, I was coming back from a game up north, coming back down to London, and yeah, it was frightening what happened. It was,
It's not what you expected.
Yeah, it's not something. It was just it was just random attack, It was just, it was very frightening.
And you obviously took off down the train and were warning other people about what was going on and telling them to run.
Yeah, because I was sure I was the first person that got stabbed, so I was just running down telling people, but they all thought it was like a joke, because obviously it was kind of, I think it was the day after Halloween or on Halloween day.
Wow.
I think. So
right. Yes, of course it was.
I understand why they would think it's a joke, but some obviously ran. But when they saw it seriously, it was frightening.
And how have you been since? I mean, in terms of the physical injuries, you're over.
Yeah. Back to normal, back fit. I've been training pre-season, keeping fit. So other than that, I've been all good.
It did interrupt your career at Scunthorpe, and it did mean that they didn't keep you on. So, you say there's some offers out there at the moment.
Yeah, there's some offers. I've had a few offers, just seeing which ones, right. But I've had a few offers, so it's good. It's very good. I'm happy for that.
So, what in your football career? Where were you when you were very young?
Oh, when I was young, so it was just local club back where I'm from in West London. So,
and your first pro club?
First very club was Acton Ealing Whistlers. Then from there, I got a move to Kingstonian.
Mm-hmm.
So Kingstonian, I was playing there.
And you're at Corinthian Casuals as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there. Played a whole season there. Done well. Then that's what got me the move to get to Scunthorpe United.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, you said the club was very supportive. Of you in light of everything that happened.
Yeah, the club, the fans done, they started a GoFund for me, which bar my hand, that meant everything for me, what they did. And, they showed big support. The messages I had from them was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. The whole club, everyone from there.
And is
what that kind of? Do you play?
I play right back.
Okay.
Right
and did
back.
that sort of help you kind of bounce back mentally, that support from everything that had gone on? Because, apart from the physical injuries, I mean, that's a kind of random attack like that must be quite difficult to cope with.
Yeah, it was tough, but, I'm okay now. I'm all good. I'm well. You just, as I said before, you just got to move on from it. Things happen in life, I know, so just got to keep your head up and carry on with life.
It's a very good attitude.
Yeah, it certainly is. You've got involved with a football safety app, which we've spoken to Emil Heskey and Paul Stewart about. A kind of, it's used at football matches and it's used around football, but it could equally be used on a train if the same thing happened again. So a kind of, if you do need help, it's a kind of real-time app that people can react to, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really good app, Obviously, they got me involved in it. Obviously, the experience that has happened to me. But, it's a really good app. It's got a 24-hour live centre.
Yeah.
So it's quite good, reports on the train, football matches, anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah,
so,
whether it's the sort of thing that happened to you or whether it's racism or whatever that people can report in real time with a 24-hour control room. So it's called the FSA, the Football Safety App, and it's available wherever you get your app. So we did have a good long chat with Paul Stewart about it a little while ago. So you're probably going to tell us where you're going, but there's a few offers on the table.
There's a few offers. I can't say I've had a few offers.
That's good.
It's good. It's good. It's just to get my career back going.
Sure.
Getting the minutes in, getting back fit, playing.
And was it going well at Scunthorpe? Did you feel like did you kind of feel like it was a good level from your point of view? Did you feel you were coping at that?
Yeah. I was coping. It was full time, so it was good. It was getting used to it, full time training, and things were going well. Things were going really well, but the incident delayed everything for me. So it put my life in pause.
How long were you out after what happened? How long were you sort of unable to play or be involved with the team?
About 4 to 5 months.
Right.
Around that, yeah. So I got back. I was training, trying to get the strength back for the arm. And I think I was back probably, let's say, back before playoffs kind of. Yeah. So
that must have been a worry because I read, knowing you were coming in today, that one of the stab wounds it could have been far worse, that it could have sort of hit a nerve and you could have lost the use of the arm. But slowly but surely you've got all your functions back, haven't you?
Yeah, back fit, back fully fit, 100%. So, ready to go wherever. So it's about keeping.
And it's interesting. Nigel James, dad of Reece and Lauren, he coached you and had nice things to say in the aftermath of the accident. Did you work with him sort of community level in your first clubs, or when did you first work with him?
When I got into him, I was very young age. I was probably about 12, 13, about quite a young age. And been there. Was at the under-18s with him. We got to the FA Youth Cup round, got to played against Dover, Gillingham, and unfortunately we lost to Wimbledon.
Yeah,
I think that was the third round or second round, can't remember. But it was we had it was good, man. I was there for a very long time. He's helped me throughout my career.
Yeah,
I've learned so much from him, and obviously as he's grown his boy as a right back, Reece James.
Of course,
So me being as a right,
fabulous players.
I wasn't a right back at first. He made me a right back, so he said, "Listen."
Where did you play before?
I was a left winger.
Oh, okay.
I was a winger. Yeah. I was a winger at first, but he said, "Listen, trust me, give it a try as a right back. And I enjoyed it there, you know.
Wow.
So I had the legs to go running around up and down.
It's a good spot, isn't it? And
yeah.
And it's quite, as your friends of the family, you're a Chelsea man as well, aren't you?
I am a Chelsea man, yes.
It's not Chelsea you're going to, is it?
Nah. I wish it was Chelsea.
Yeah.
I wish.
So you're feeling, we were just saying off air, you're quite excited by Jordan Henderson as a signing because you kind of feel it's maybe what the team needs, him and Welbeck. It's a kind of balancing of the squad, isn't it?
Yeah, they got two good leaders in there that's come in, you know. The manager, Xabi Alonso, as well. What he did at Bayern Leverkusen was amazing, you know. So
yeah, signs are good. It's going to take time, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, it will take time. It's not something that can happen overnight, you know. So we hope, you know, everything goes well and they start the season sharp and well.
So, when do you hope to be back playing then? Would you want to be sort of getting underway for the start of the season with a new team?
Well, the season's already started for the new team, so I've had to take a little hit missing about second week or so, but should have something the next week or so.
And you say you've been doing your own sort of personal pre-season.
Yes,
so you can hit the ground running a bit.
Yeah. So funny, I've been training with Mudryk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've been in with Mudryk training at Hawksbee Football Ground.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah,
wow.
So before he went into club, I was training with him probably for a month or so.
Right.
Yeah, so I was doing some training sessions there. So
he came back, considering he'd been out for such a long time, they chucked him in for the last 10, 15 minutes and to all accounts, he did pretty well.
Yeah, he's looking all right. I know, he kept himself high, you know, head high. He looked all right to me. He was happy, you know. He said he just couldn't wait to get back, you know.
Yeah.
So he couldn't talk much, obviously. I didn't know when he was going back, but he did tell me about a couple of days before, listen, fitness sessions are coming back to it, no, I've got to go fly out.
Because the rules changed, didn't they? The criteria by which he was judged changed, and so he was able to go back and appeal and say, well, look, these are the rules now, and I would not have failed that test on that basis. So he was able to come back. But as you said, to work, I mean, a bit like you found, I guess, working on your own in the hope that you're going to get another team, or you hope you come back, must be quite hard. That, you know, just working on your own. I mean, the goal is to stay fit, but still, you haven't got a club, so it must be difficult.
Yeah, it's hard. You know, you're not playing games. You're training by yourself, either one-to-one with a coach. You know, but at the end of the day, it's got to get done.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to chase that dream, getting that pro contract, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, Jonathan, it's good that you're back in a situation where you can play professionally again after everything you went through. So lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
All the best for the new season.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you so much.
It's Jonathan Joshy there, and don't forget the football safety app. As we said, that opportunity to report to a 24-hour control room for anything that you're alarmed by. The football safety app is available wherever you get your apps. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. In the final hour, we're going to talk City. Bit of a concern for Bill Burrows, journalist and City fanzine editor of the past, will be joining us for a chat. We're going to talk some rugby league, and also Jeremiah Azu will be joining us. 3 medals, 2 golds and a silver at the European Championships last week. So that's all to come.
There's a bit of housery about it, and since Cucurella's gone, I kind of like that housery.
Oh no, I think it's a great quality. I think if you're talking about a footballer, strictly on the pitch here, and you use words like, oh, he's snide, he's snarling, he's aggressive. These are good words to use about a footballer. I want players to be like that. I think Chelsea have been a little bit too nice over recent years, and I think having somebody that is a little bit more on the front foot is a good thing. Enzo Fernandez, we've seen it. Like when he scored that goal against Paris Saint-Germain, he's running off towards their ultras, showing them the Club World Cup badge. Whenever we play Manchester United, he's got Mason Mount round the throat. Like he understands what Mason Mount's relationship with Chelsea fans is, and he leans into that. There are qualities to Enzo Fernandez, no doubt, but I'd 100% want him out of the club and 100% take the money.
Okay, Sean?
I totally agree. I do like him as a footballer, but his heart's not in it. And from the minute he started to tout himself around in terms of, I want to play for Madrid, you know what, guess what? go. The player I want to see fit is Lavia. Now, when I don't think you remember between towards the end of December 2024, we almost went to the top of the league. And the reason why that is because Lavia was playing superbly. The one thing wrong with Lavia, when he injures an eyelash, he's out for about 6 months. So we need to keep him fit. And if we can keep him fit, when he was playing, we kept Fernandes wasn't even playing because they played Casado at right back, and he was the main man running the show. And when we went to Spurs and we turned them over, right, he was the main reason.
talkSPORT Sports Update with NordVPN. Now with built-in next-gen antivirus that automatically detects malicious links, websites and files.
We're talking City next after that defeat in the Community Shield to Arsenal yesterday. But first, Max Scott has the sports headlines.
Thank you, Paul. Good afternoon. Martin Keown says after their showing in the Community Shield, Manchester City are in danger of imploding.
Well, I'll tell you what I'd be doing that, Christian. I said, I don't care who the manager was previously. I personally am not happy with that performance. Are we going to stand up and be counted? We've been used to winning, and it didn't look like a football team yesterday. They didn't look like they were together. There was no connections in the final third.
As for Arsenal, Stuart Pearce reckons they do look like a team with the fight to win back-to-back Premier Leagues.
Sometimes when you've climbed Everest, which they did last year and won the Premier League, you think there might be a little drop-off of mentality. Yesterday proved that, to me anyway, that they've got the bit between their teeth and they want to go again.
A reminder, the opening game of the Premier League, Arsenal's trip to Coventry, is live exclusively on talkSPORT Friday night. Now, in transfer news with Rodri on his way to Barcelona, we understand Manchester City are closing in on the young Moroccan star Ayoub Bouadi, and that they will still bid for Enzo Fernandez. Of course, Chelsea value him at £120 million. Chelsea are also said to value Pedro Neto at £100 million. The Saudi side Al Hilal interested in bringing him in. And Sebastian Pocagnoli says he's proud to have been appointed as the new head coach of Scotland. The former West Brom and Brighton fullback's excited about developing the national team.
I never go through a challenge where I can't feel the connection. And Scotland is a passionate country for football. I'm passionate.
McCoist has called it a left field appointment. Meanwhile, the Scottish FA has confirmed it will not back Gianni Infantino's re-election as FIFA president. Chief Executive Ian Maxwell says they've lost confidence in the head of football's governing body after the failed attempt to sell off the World Cup to private investors.
talkSPORT News.
Reform UK say they will ban foreigners living in Britain from claiming benefits, and grassroots football could be caught in the drought squeeze just as the new season kicks off. More with Emma in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Sort your new tyres this summer at a time that suits you best from the comfort of your home or work 7 days a week with our mobile tyre fitting service. Conditions apply.
Cloudy with outbreaks of rain in the north that are getting heavier across Northern Ireland and western Scotland later this afternoon. Further south, feeling warm and humid. Expect more showers across the country this week.
Odegaard looks up, tries to curl it far post. Solis back across the face of goal. Havertz is there. Donnarumma can't keep it out. And Arsenal lead by 2 goals to 0. Are you Tottenham in disguise with the taunt that they aimed at the Man City fans? Solis edge of the area, feeds it into Odegaard. Great touch, chance to make it 3. Easily strokes it into the net. It's a wonderful Arsenal move. And again it came about because of a turnover of intensity. The captain takes the acclaim.
They're first to the ball, they want the ball, they're more aggressive, and all of a sudden the ball hits the back of the net.
And Arsenal are running riot.
Yes, comfortable for Arsenal yesterday, but City a team in transition. Boadi and quite possibly Fernandes still to come in before the start of the season, so it's not all doom and gloom. But still, few worrying signs in that performance.
Bill won't be worried.
Well, he's normally a calm voice in troubled times. He is the former editor of the City fanzine Blueprint, journalist, author and broadcaster is Bill Burrows. Hello, Bill.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good, thank you. So, did it concern you, Bill, watching the game yesterday?
Not one bit. I don't know what the exact stats are, but isn't it something like the last team to win the Charity Shield and the title that year was City in 2018?
Mm-hmm.
And they're good. They're great at Cardiff all the time. They're so excitable, that fan base. They're second only to Liverpool, aren't they? They already think they've won it.
They did look good.
So there was nothing there in that game yesterday that made you think, oh, hang on. I mean, there's bound to be... I mean, look, as we said, it's a team in transition. The manager's gone. You've lost key players. You know, it's not going to be seamless, is it?
Rodri and Bernardo Silva were more than key players. They were vital players.
Well, that's not actually true last year, Andy, because Rodri had a very average season.
Bernardo Silva didn't, though, did he? He was brilliant.
But, you know, you can't keep going forever. He's about 73. He's a wonderful player, and he will be missed. And the thing that was missing yesterday was that creativity, that creative spark. Cherky on the bench will dazzle the Premier League when he gets a chance. But that team, I'm sure that's not his first team. Gahey's going to start. Diaz has been a brilliant servant, but he's getting a little bit old, a little bit slow now. O'Reilly was a bit of a concern, I must admit. But then he's just come back from the World Cup, so his life's changed so much in the last year, hasn't it? I'd like to see him back at full-back. You know, it's just a charity shield, you know. I don't even know how many times we've won it. It's ridiculous.
No, and they will integrate Boadi. They will possibly buy Fernandes. Do you think they're going to go for that? They're going to have to pay... Apparently, they're going to have to pay more now than the 120 million.
I can't see that.
Money's not an issue, is it, really? But we definitely need some more midfield, because I wasn't actually sold Anderson when we got him. But let's see.
Why is that, Bill? Why is that just you've not seen enough of him at Forest or England to think he can step up and do it?
Not quite. I mean, we've been used to buying world beaters, you know, marquee players, and he's not quite there yet, is he? He needs a bit of time. We got Yaya Toure and Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva. You know, there's lots to live up to. He's not quite. They're a different kind of player, of course. He's more of a water carrier, isn't he? But Kovacic, you know, again, old. I mean, you can't start a midfield with just those two in it. Really, it's ridiculous.
No, it was. I thought Elliot Anderson had some nice touches. I thought Foden looked better than he has looked. Obviously, he faded a bit, but I thought there was that period in the game where at 1-0 they could have equalised. A great block, a great save. You know, games can hinge on things like that.
Yeah, last year, when we got Semenyo and Gahey, just toward, it's Christmas, wasn't it? We really, if we got them a month earlier, which we couldn't because of the window, we'd have won the league. If Rodri had been on top form, we'd have won the league. If Foden hadn't gone missing in action, we'd have won the league. Yeah. So, yes, we've lost Rodri. He wasn't having a great season. Bernardo is a loss. Now, if we can replace those guys in the middle of the park, I mean, let everyone just write us off. I mean, Martin Keough, good God. The man,
I know, it's ridiculous.
The man is a clown. He's the most irritating pundit on talkSPORT, and that is everything. Absolutely clueless.
What about Pep himself, though? I mean, Maresca, you know, he's got qualities, Maresca, but he isn't Pep Guardiola. He never will be. And his record against Arsenal for Chelsea was absolutely terrible. And that's going to have to change.
Well, Chelsea's an unstable club, Andy, as you well know. So the last three managers the owners have brought in, they've all won the league. Roberto Mancini, Pellegrini, Pep, and you've got to trust in them. Really, that's 3 out of 3. And I think they'd like to give people time. So I'm not sure he's got like 2 or 3 seasons, but he's got enough time to work with. They must have seen something they liked when he was at City before. So.
He's a good manager. I mean, look, he did well at Chelsea. You know, he won 2 trophies. He got them in the top 4. You know, you can't say he didn't have a good last season. He did. I mean, not obviously last season, but you know what I mean. When he came in,
hell of a pair of shoes to fill, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And he's a brave man for trying to do so. But you know, I don't have any worries about him yet. Nothing freaked me out. I think also because we now know that the club had tapped him up in December. He must have been privy to who we were getting in, and I'm sure Pep's left him a big file of handover notes, you know. And Pep's only the end of a phone call if he gets desperate, isn't he?
In terms of outgoings, I'm a touch underwhelmed by Savinho because we do have a lot of players very similar to him who are very tricky, but we're no end product.
Please buy Savinho.
Yeah, this was your window to say to me, I'm gutted he's leaving. He's a world beater.
I can't oblige. He is rubbish. He's a championship player. If you pay 75 million for him, well, happy days.
I've gone from I don't know. I think me saying slightly underwhelmed to he's a championship player. I think that is quite a leap. Talking to Jamie O'Hara seems to think there is a player there that De Zerbi can work with. As I said, I'm not altogether sure, and you've not done me any favours there, really.
Listen, I can only speak truth. He's not good enough. He's a tackle jumper. He hasn't got end product. He doesn't like taking people on. And if you can't perform well in a pep team, then good luck.
The end product is the thing that worries me, I must say.
Nothing about him I've ever seen and thought, well, yeah, we're hoping.
It's that thing of, like you were saying, Bill, we have to trust the manager. I've doubt, the manager's kept us up, so I'm hoping he spotted something that I haven't. So we shall see.
At the same time, look at the impression he's made,
Yeah.
I'd less time to do that.
What about Marmoush? I mean, do you like to see him stay? He's been linked with a move. You think he'll stay?
I would. It's a poison chalice, isn't it? It's like Alvarez was there. Alvarez has already done football. He's won every single trophy possible. 23, 24, whatever he is. Great player. But you're not going to get ahead of Aguero, or you're not going to get ahead of Haaland, are you? It's just one of those things. And soon enough, he'll get tired and want to move on. But he's a brilliant player to bring on. I think he's a great player.
So, you sound pretty unconcerned, Bill. You're quite...
In the old days, as you said, I'm calm. I have seen troubled waters. These are not troubled waters. This is City in transition with a great team in charge of the whole club, bringing in the right people at the right time. The transfer, we don't make many bad transfers. We made the odd one at Calvin Phillips, well back in the day, but not many.
Yeah, and if you add Fernandez and Buardi, it's going to look a lot different.
Yeah, it's true. Last time we saw you, Bill, you were in with Tim and Ben, your fellow Loaded scribes. You're doing a podcast. You got a new series out, haven't you?
Yeah, there you go. Loaded, Exploded podcast. It's season 2 is out now. We're 2 episodes into it. Got an interview with Count Binface, which we did before he went big, because I've known him for quite a while, and I knew he'd been copying. And it was funny watching him go on all these TV shows, people assuming he's an idiot, but I knew he'd read classics at Oxford. So, well, that was good fun. We've got tons of stuff in the latest one coming up. It's brilliant. A lot of Basil Bush we've got in the latest one. It's coming out soon.
Excellent. All right, Bill. Well, thanks very much, as always. We'll pass on your regards to Martin Keown.
Yeah, please do.
Cheers, Bill. Thanks a lot.
Brilliant.
Yes, Bill Burrows there. A very unconcerned Manchester City fan. And, we'll see, won't we? And then
that's the beauty of it. We will see. And it could go the way he thinks, and it could go... I don't think it's going to go exactly the way Martin and the Telegraph went right over the top as well. So, he's definitely not the man to take over from Pep. Well, give him a chance.
Yeah. Still to come, we'll look ahead to tonight's commentary game on talkSPORT 2 between Cardiff and Wrexham in the Championship. We'll talk a bit of rugby league with former player at Sky presenter Brian Carney with the NRL, Australian Rugby League, looking to buy in. But the money's got to be right from Super League's point of view. And Jeremiah Azu joins us, Team GB sprinter, 3 medals last week, 2 gold and a silver. And we'll be catching up with him as well. We are here with our good friends at Tool Station. First stop, Tool Station.
What, €1 for one Prem?
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
2.
Obviously.
You're swapping 2, Jay. You are.
I don't know.
Jay, you are.
Maybe 2. Don't know, though. Like, them nights as a final, you've been in cup finals. Them nights, you never give them
Jay,
up.
I've been 2. And do you know what? I don't want to bring it up, yeah? You cost me one of them.
What do you mean I cost you one of them?
You missed the pen. So
Hold on. I didn't see you taking one.
I said to Harry, I'll take one.
No.
5.
No. Let's have this out. Don't be blaming me for your Carabao Cup loss, all right?
because I took the first pen and Darren Bent was nowhere to be seen.
And listen, I'm going to tell you the exact truth of what happened.
No,
At the time, I was a penalty taker. I said to Harry, I'll take 1. He said, no, you take 5. I went,
no, Robbie
sure?
Keane took 5.
No, I was supposed to take 5.
Right.
And he said, you took 1. So it never got to me. I never got to take 1.
Yeah, but the 5th penalty on that night was Robbie Keane.
No, it's me.
Nah, you're lying.
Ask Keno. I don't know if you can remember, but...
Nah, you're lying.
I was 5.
You're lying.
I was a penalty taker at the time. So
why don't you take 1?
Because I said to Harry, he said, no, 5.
Nah, I disagree, mate. I think you bottled it.
Hey, listen. Hey, have you seen the pen, Bill?
I did not cost you a caramel cup.
You did, mate.
Where were you in the 90 mins?
That could have been 2, mate. That could have been 2 for me. But no. Cheers, Jake.
That still haunts me, that does.
Does it?
Yeah, it hurts my feelings. I think about it a lot.
Ben Foss had the game of his life, mate.
Yeah.
He won man of the match that game as well.
Mate, it hurts. That game's on as well all the time. They play that game a lot. It's such a bad game.
Do you know what, right? I don't really like giving you credit, but I felt for you in the first one because you were playing well in that period.
Oh, I know.
And he left you out completely.
Yeah,
I felt for you in that.
Yeah, that hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Hawksbee and Jacobs here on talkSPORT. We're going to talk rugby league now, and if you don't follow the game, you may not be aware that there has been some talk that the NRL, the Oceania region of rugby league, where the sport, let's be honest, is very, very popular and cash rich and has a high profile, have been looking to buy a stake in Super League rugby league in this country, and they seem to be edging closer to a deal, but we discover in the last couple of days that the valuation from the Super League's point of view is way short of where they think it should be. So what's the next step? Will the deal get done? Is it in jeopardy? Let's speak to a former player and indeed Sky Sports presenter Brian Carney. Hi, Brian.
Hello, boys. Would it be a bad start to the interview if I said I don't know the answers to either of those questions you just
well, thanks for joining us, Brian. Lovely to see you. I mean, I suppose they're the questions. Yeah, I'm sure. But that's where we're at, isn't it? It seems that what we're hearing, it's $7 million a year for a 10% stake, and Super League have said, well, think again.
Okay. So for anybody that's not familiar with the background, as you rightly point out, the NRL in Australia and New Zealand, the National Rugby League, the competition that the governing body of the competition of the game of rugby league over there is going as well as it's ever been. It's gone stratospheric in the last few years, particularly since COVID. They have just signed the richest sports broadcasting deal in Australian history. There's a strong argument to say it is now the most popular sport in Australia, which is an incredibly competitive sporting landscape. If you think of rugby union, AFL, and the omnipresent football, the globally omnipresent football, they have managed to go to the very top of that. They've just introduced a new team in Perth. They're introducing a new team in Papua New Guinea, and there's talk that they will introduce a second team in New Zealand very shortly. They have got rugby union in the Southern Hemisphere rocking on its heels, and it's something you never thought you would say. It's been written about all over the world of rugby union, how well the NRL is doing, and it's taking eyeballs off of rugby union. That is the scope of the entity that want to invest in rugby league over in this country. We're nowhere near that level. We'll all appreciate that as much as we love the sport. So what the NRL have come and said is, we will invest in Super League, both capital and expertise, in return for some equity. Here's our first proposal. What do you say? Now, many voices have risen up. Nobody's spoken officially yet. There's some voices I've read in the paper. I'm in the game 28 years. People I've never met are now chirping up with their opinion, opining on the future of the game and whether or not we should take the deal. Let me tell you what it entails so far. Yes, there's an offer of £7 million a year for 5 years to go to the Super League clubs. My sources in Australia, who are very closely appraised of this deal, say that there's also funding allocated, separate funding allocated for the second division over here, because people don't want to see the second division cut adrift. And funding has also been allocated separately for the centre to drive growth and progress in the centre, in the governing body. So 3 different tenants all have been resourced in this NRL proposal for 5 years. So essentially, it's over to the Super League clubs.
So if in principle a deal can be done, are you saying it's a good thing?
The man that's put it together is Peter V'landys. And I don't want to sound like a spokesman for Peter V'landys, but if you just take some time to look him up, he has 2 roles. He's just stood down from one of them temporarily. That's head of Racing New South Wales. He's the man that introduced the Everest horse race. Now, I think, arguably the richest horse race in the world, the richest turf race in the world, a $20 million purse. That's all Peter V'landys doing. At the same time, is wearing a second cap, which is chair of the Rugby League Commission, and he has grown the revenues in that sport up to this multi-billion-pound business. That's the level of expertise it is saying, I will try and help you in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, if it was Barry Hearn or Eddie Hearn, you'd go running and you'd say yes. But Barry or Eddie Hearn aren't going to bring £35 million of capital investment plus 35 million plus of capital investment. In fact, it's probably close to 50 million over 5 years, as well as their expertise. So I'm saying, yes, I do believe it's a good thing. And I'll play this final card. Show me plan B.
Yes.
Is there a slight concern, Brian, that we could see a bit of a talent drain, that the NRL will look to sort of cherry pick the best talent in Super League and take it over to Oz?
They're already doing it. They're already doing it. Listen, let's be realistic. The NRL is like the Premier League. If you're a Danish Premier League football club, you're not going to try and stop your player going to Liverpool or Man United or Man City. There's inevitability about it. What you do want to be is the very best version of the Danish Premier League that you can be. And that's what Super League needs to aim for. Tidy itself up and be the very best that it can be. It is not going to stop its best players going to Australia. The salary cap dwarfs ours, and it always will. That ship has long sailed. What we do need to do is continue to make this a very attractive game for the diehard supporters in this country that have followed it for generation after generation after generation and will continue to do so.
There is some talk, Brian, that the area of expertise that they could bring would be in terms of the television deal. You're part of Sky's excellent coverage, and it's been a great supporter of Super League for a long time now. But it is quite possible that they would look to come over and look to cast their net wider.
As is their want. You'd be foolish not to check the whole market, would you? Each and every time a broadcast cycle comes to an end, the governing body would be foolish not to explore the entire market. I wouldn't expect that to be any different. What they're saying to the club owners is, give us control, allow us to use our expertise and the money we're going to invest in the centre and in your clubs and we will grow your product so that when you do go to market next time out, you might be in a better position.
So do you think a deal will be done eventually and find the right price?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds, I mean, on the face of it, sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, to sort of tap into that expertise and grow the game is potentially good.
Guys, I understand the difficulty of this, really. Of course, quite evidently, I'm not from England. I'm not from the north of England. But there's always a reticence when people outsiders are getting involved in this. Now, you can make what you will of foreign investment in the Premier League. You guys are probably better versed to say whether it's a good or a bad thing. But there is a person who loves rugby league, who governs a body whose first and foremost interest is rugby league, who are cash rich, expertise rich, and they want to help and invest in and ultimately benefit in the long run from the only other professional competition in the world. Tell me how it couldn't be a good thing.
Yeah. What could potentially be the spanner in the works, you think? Is it just the valuation, or are there people within rugby league that don't want this to happen?
Yes, there's people that want progress until it makes them unnecessary. You're absolutely right. And that is the same the world over. Sometimes when people fear losing power, the best thing you could do is provide them with a luxury villa on a desert island and tell them they and their family will be safe for the rest of their lives. Then they'll relinquish power.
Just finally, you'll be delighted that Super League's going to Ireland next year, as you played for Ireland, of course, and played for Wigan. So, yeah, it's there's going to be a couple of games over in Ireland next year.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Dublin in April of next year. We got 4 sides going over: Wigan, Warrington, St Helens and Hull FC. I think they will empty those towns and cities and head over to Dublin in huge numbers. The figures so far have been incredible. I think Wigan had 3,000 ticket inquiries in the first 24 hours. Hull FC was something similar. I expect big numbers again from Warrington and St Helens as well. It's going to be a great weekend, a marvellous weekend. Who wouldn't like a weekend in Dublin? And if you're a rugby league fan from whatever part of the UK, get yourself over to Dublin and enjoy it. But bring your wallet.
And we should just say we're getting rid of the business end. How many games left before we decide on the playoffs? Only a handful.
We got the final 4 rounds. We got a make-up game on Tuesday, round 2 between Warrington and Hull KR, which may prove pivotal in both of their seasons. But it's shaping up nicely. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've had some real upset results.
Yeah.
Everything we thought might be a foregone conclusion. Lee went to Leeds on Thursday night. They beat them. They turned them over. St Helens walloped Wakefield on the weekend. Nobody saw that coming.
No.
So, listen, it's really all to play for. Looks like 7 sides competing for 6 places, but where they finish in that top 6, which is all important, has all yet to be decided. So 4 incredible weeks before we head for the playoffs.
Cheers, Brian. Always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for covering the game, boys. Much appreciated.
That was good.
There's Brian Carney there, the former Ireland and Wigan player and Sky Sports presenter.
It sounds, it's a bit like the NFL coming in and taking over, American football here, isn't it?
Well, there's been some talk of a kind of European NBA. The same sort of things are happening, aren't they? Adding their sort of expertise and
But he's right.
But there's
people
they
like their positions.
When people have run a traditional sport for many years, there is going to be a little bit of self-interest. I mean, I don't know the individuals involved on that basis, but Brian clearly has his views on it. But anyway, thanks to Brian Carney, and we'll be previewing Super League weekend on Thursday. But Jeremiah Azu is going to join us for a chat next. A fantastic week for him and a lot of the GB sprint team at the European Championship. It was a really enjoyable, exciting week for athletics, wasn't it, up in Birmingham? And Jeremiah is going to join us for a chat in a few moments' time.
Cricket, what? But I know Chelsea had a deadline for Fernandes, but it looks like Rodri's obviously on his way to Spain, Barcelona. I think he's going over there today. Would they go back in? It seems common sense, and particularly after watching that yesterday, would they go back to Chelsea, do you think, City?
I think it's almost nailed on that they're going to chance their arm there. Rodri deal was agreed overnight, £65 million, which is always the magic number. As far as Manchester City are concerned, he's agreed a 4-year deal. They're going to sell to Gianni Reinders as well. Those transfer fees combined will be enough to match Chelsea's £120 million asking price for Enzo Fernandez. Now, obviously, sources telling us on Friday that the 5 o'clock deadline had passed. No written bids have been received. Therefore, Enzo Fernandez would stay a Chelsea player. I'm not convinced that was as hard a deadline as maybe it's being made out.
What about Jamie Vardy, Crookie? Well, reading reports that he's had an offer from Brazil.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because Jamie Vardy still looks in top physical condition. Obviously did pretty well in his stint over in Italy. I think he'd prefer a return to English football, if I'm honest, but I wouldn't totally rule out a move to Brazil. Who knows, that might be the next chapter of the documentary that I've just started watching about his incredible career. But he's certainly got no shortage of interest. Sheffield Wednesday, his boyhood club, of chance their arm, but I think financially that's quite a difficult deal for the Owls to do.
Who would have thought a sporting event's halftime show could have a bigger impact than the game itself? That seems to be the case with the Super Bowl halftime show. In 2024, Usher brought in an audience of 180 million worldwide, the biggest in the event's history. But how did singing and dancing get to be the centerpiece of America's biggest sporting event? The first Super Bowl was held in 1967. Initially, the halftime show was a display purely for the fans in the stadium, with marching bands, dancers, and American patriotism for all to see. And that's what it was for the first few years. Disney had a go with a few questionable displays in the 1980s, but it wasn't until '93 that we got the first glimpse into the future of halftime shows. Michael Jackson's stellar performance gave NFL execs something to think about. A raft of massive names followed, including Diana Ross, U2, Janet Jackson, who gave us the most famous or infamous wardrobe malfunction of all time. So how many people are involved? To give you an idea of the scale, Rihanna's 2023 performance included 800 people, and experts reckon it cost $13 million. What's even more impressive than some of the names on the bill every year is the fact they do it for free. The artists know the exposure they'll get from doing the show will rocket them up the charts across the world. The Super Bowl halftime show will be a fixture in pop culture for years to come. So the question is, who next?
Yes, and it's Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT, and the European Athletics Championships concluded last night.
We both watched so much of it for the first time. I used to love athletics when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed
great,
this past week. It's been great.
It was. The competition was fantastic, and it was topped off last night by more golds for Team GB. It wasn't a million miles off of topping the table. Italy just pipped us at the post, but it's been a good week for our next guest. An individual silver, 2 golds in the relay, the men's and the mixed, which I think most people really enjoyed and will hope has got a life beyond this European Championship. Jeremiah Azu joins us. Hi, Jeremiah.
Hi, guys. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're good. Congratulations. As I said,
thank you.
Purely as viewers, we really enjoyed it. I did look like the athletes really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, honestly, I loved it. Every minute of that championships was great. To race in front of the UK fans is always a privilege and an honour. But yeah, even like the mix, bringing in something new, it brings a bit more excitement. Yeah, it was a good evening last night.
So we're talking about the mixed relays for the next Olympics. Am I right in thinking, though, that there was a mixed relay race in the last Olympics? Was it an experimental thing?
So they had the mixed 4x4.
4x4, wasn't it? Yeah.
Like this is the first time they've done the mixed 4x1 at championships. Yeah.
Oh, it was exciting, and it was interesting. They were talking about the contrast between the men running into a woman being faster than the woman was taking.
Yeah,
but you all seem to do it really well.
And you hadn't really spent a lot of time, from what Amy Hunt said, on the baton changes. You hadn't really done a lot of prep, had you?
Nah, some of the guys, that was their first time doing it in the warm-up. So I think it just shows the level of experience that we've got in the team. I'm probably one of the younger guys, but yeah, Jarnell and Dina, they've been doing this for the last 10, 15 years at this top level. So they just slide straight into it.
Yeah, you got a silver in the individual, which was great. And the relay, though, it always strikes me as it's a tough event, that, because
nerve-wracking.
You're the one that drops the baton or does it wrong. You've let everybody else down.
Yeah, definitely. I probably say I have the easiest job because I've just got one change to do and then I'm just watching. But yeah, it is fun. I think it adds to that excitement of what's going to happen because it's not always the fastest team that wins. You've got to get those changes right.
Yeah, so I was reading a little bit on your background. You were a pretty decent footballer back in the day as well when you played at a decent level.
Yeah, Welsh Prem level. I think COVID kind of just stopped that chapter. I was kind of at a crossroads. And then COVID happened and it was like, I think I've got to pick one. And I took the athletics route. Yeah, and it's going pretty well since.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
It was interesting to hear Amy Hunt had such wonderful games. Thank the National Lottery. It was a good thing for her to do, really.
Yeah. Has that been important in your career as well, Jeremiah?
Yeah, they've made it all possible. They fund us, so any trips that we go on, also we get lottery funding, so they'll give us like a salary so we can train full time, and they make all of this possible. So yeah, I think it's important for people to know that the National Lottery players are a big reason why we're in this position.
Yeah. You were saying last night that Dina Asher-Smith was a kind of great inspiration to you, and you said it was a real buzz to be part of a team with her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was huge. When I first came into athletics, she was the biggest name in British athletics at the time in all the events. So yeah, I looked up to her a lot, and I thought I'd be on making the same teams as her, let alone being in the same race as her, And I think that's what fun this new event brings. It changes it all up and adds a bit of flavour.
Well, we obviously know what she's capable of. She's a legend, but it's been a, as Andy said, an incredible week for Amy Hunt, isn't it? A kind of big sort of breakout star of women's athletics.
Yeah, huge. She talked the talk and she walked the walk.
Yeah.
Straight after the 100 meters, she said that's 1 out of 4, and that's a big thing to put out there and it's a brave thing to put out there. But she backed it up. Of course, relays, you've got to trust that team, but I think it shows that she's willing to put that out there because she knows I'll get my bits done, and the team, when they get involved, they can help me achieve what I need to achieve as well.
And it's all good profile for the sport as well, isn't it? You get eyes on someone that is a bit of, as we say, a bit of a breakout star. It's all good for the sport and people watching athletics.
Yeah, it's huge. I think young people need people to look up to, and she's a great role model. I think that's where I try and put myself in those positions to show younger guys, girls, no matter where you're from, your background, that hard work and dedication can take you there. And like, I'm sure most people listening to this agree that sport can change people's lives, and sport gives you those things you need to get through life. And that's why we all love sport so much.
So what's it like today after the week you've had? I suppose it's sort of back to reality, back to domesticity. Is it a difficult adjustment after all the excitement of the week?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I just loaded my washing machine to get all the kit washed. So yeah, back to reality. But I've still got some more races to go, so it's just about recovery now, to try and finish off the year on a high. There's a new championships called the Ultimate World Championships. Which
They talk about that. What exactly is that? Because they were talking about that in the coverage. It's just a new world event.
So it's the top 16 in the world, regardless of where you're from. So you could have essentially 10 guys from one country. That's why it's called the Ultimate World Champion, because you're truly facing the best 16 athletes in the world. Yeah.
And is that next month, Jeremiah, is it?
So it's from the 11th to the 13th of September.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but before that, we've got the Diamond League final. So the Diamond League's like a circuit that you race on. You get enough points to qualify for the final.
Yeah. And an Olympics to look forward to as well, not far off.
Huge, 2 years away. And in the build-up to that, we have the World Championships next year. So it works well. You've got the Europeans, Worlds, Olympics. Little stepping stone. So it's good to get medals at these championships, because you gain that experience. You learn how to win when the pressure's on, which is what you need when you get to that Olympics. And I'm sure LA is going to be fireworks.
And where'd you keep all your medals? I mean, we don't want anybody burgling you, but they were quite big, meaty old medals as well, weren't they?
They're quite big. I've got some right here.
Oh, look at that. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Almost
they are quite big.
Like discus size, aren't they, almost? They're pretty monstrous. Fantastic.
Nice.
Well, look, congratulations again, Jeremiah. Appreciate you joining us. Thanks very much.
Great chatting, guys. Take care.
Jeremiah Azu there, the Team GB sprinter, as you just saw, 2 golds and a silver this week at the European Championship. So,
yes, I got to read this because this bloke wrote to the Star. This is such a
letter about the athletics.
Yeah. He said, so chuffed. Audrey Werrow won the 800 metres final because the BBC seem to think the whole athletics world revolves around Keely Hodgkinson. Well done, Audrey. These people have got so much hate in them, haven't they?
Dear me.
Goodness sake.
Did you see Watford's new manager is Alessio Dionisi? He's trying to improve his English.
Oh, right, yeah.
And one way he's been doing
Hope it's a quick course.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be a crash course, wouldn't it, really? Don't buy any LPs, as they say. But he says he's been watching English films to try and improve his English.
Oh, right.
He said, I'm a big fan of Julia Roberts. I kind of think there might have been an ulterior motive to that. He said, but of course, he said, I'm a Julia Roberts fan, but I must be careful what I'm saying. I love my wife. She's better.
Oh, good.
He says.
What, as an actress?
Every day. I don't know. He said, every day I try to watch one movie in English.
Yeah.
However, I also have to do my work. But he's also been watching, he watched Hugh Grant in Love Actually. So next time he does a press conference, he'll do some sort of bumbling posh bloke.
That would be funny. His English has really come on.
Yeah, what about yeah, you could just see it, can't you, really? It's going to take off. It's Hawksbee and Jacobs here on talkSPORT. We will hand over to Annie Goldstein and Darren Bent back together at 4, and we're going to have a look ahead to the game between Cardiff and Wrexham very shortly.
Yeah.
When Emma Kerwin popped in to read us the news, she was taking us through her culinary skills at the weekend.
Yes.
And she mentioned that she'd finished something off in the air fryer. And I thought, honestly, Andy's look of disgust at the mention of an air fryer was like we'd beaten up his granny or something. You're not a fan of the air fryer?
I'm a traditionalist. I like proper cooking.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you use an oven, or do you kind of have a fire pit in the garden?
No, I use an oven.
Really, but the air fryer for you?
I'm not even. Our microwave's just broken, and we've decided not to replace it because we don't really use it that much.
You're angling for a free microwave?
No, not really.
You can cook in an air fryer. You can. I mean,
it'll fit in the back of my Lexus.
Yeah, morning. Anyway, so yeah, don't be buying Andy an air fry. It just end up in the garden. So Steve Morrison joined us, former Cardiff manager, to look at tonight's game against Wrexham. Talk about some of the other games at the weekend. His ex-clubs, Millwall making a pretty decent start, quite fancied this year, of course. Steve's old team. So that's all to come. It is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT with our good friends at Toolstation. Only got time for one stop. First stop, Toolstation.
Joe, very satisfying. Bit of a statement. Just remember, it's only a glorified friendly.
First of all, I want to say a big good morning to the talkSPORT listeners. It's a fantastic Monday morning, isn't it? It is for sure. Listen, guys, Jeff, Ali, who's going to beat us this season? You tell me. Who is going to take over in the city of London? Who?
On that evidence, nobody.
Nobody.
Right. But
Chelsea.
I think Chelsea.
It's premature, Jeff. It's premature.
Well, it's premature. You're saying who's going to beat us?
We've won the trophy available to win.
Yeah,
we've done it.
It's difficult for you guys not to get carried away after that, but at the same time, I wouldn't be overly worried about Manchester City's performance. Although, with the golf in that particular game, I would be slightly concerned.
Ali, I have to add, it is time to get excited. It's time to get super excited because I don't think there's a time in the league where it's been more open for us to dominate. I mean, if you look at Liverpool, Areola, we don't know what he's going to do. You're talking about Alonso. We're raving about a manager, and you've seen the ins and outs of Chelsea. It's not even stable there yet. I've just seen recently that Nicholas Jackson, who's been one of their best players in the pre-season, he's in the bomb squad with Liam Delap. You turn around, you look at Man City, it's looking shaky. You look at Aston Villa. There's no point you getting me in the morning with Gabby anymore. There's no point. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing, Gabby. I'm not going to see you again, mate. We're that far gone.
So we brought you a whole raft of EFL action this weekend, and we finish off tonight over on talkSPORT 2 with a Welsh derby, Cardiff versus Wrexham. Hugh Woozencroft, host, Nigel Adderley and Adrian Clark are your commentary team.
It's a lively first fixture, isn't it, for both of them?
Yeah, great, isn't it? It's going to be a cracking atmosphere, you would think, under the lights tonight. Steve Morrison was the manager of Cardiff City, and he joins us now. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, thank you. Yeah,
Good,
so
good.
what a cracking opening fixture for Cardiff. Just come back up. It's going to be a lively one, isn't it?
Yeah, the atmosphere will be amazing, won't it? And what a fixture to start it off. It's been 24 years since it's last happened.
Oh,
So
really? We heard that
be,
they met in the cup, didn't they? But this is the first league fixture.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be pretty amazing. The atmosphere will be electric. It's obviously you've got a team, Wrexham, who have spent another little bit of money on a few players this summer, and we'll be looking to try and go a little bit further than they did last year. And Cardiff were excellent with their young, exciting team last year in League One, and how they're going to fare in the Championship with a pretty similar squad. So it'll be exciting.
It's probably the most unorthodox way a club has risen through the ranks, isn't it? I mean, you can get people coming and pumping money into football clubs, but a few of them are sort of Hollywood superstars or big TV stars in the States. And, we spoke to a couple from Texas last week who loved the documentary so much. In fact, if they're moving from Texas to just outside San Antonio to Wrexham, I mean, it is nuts, isn't it? This whole story. But, they are serious contenders. They weren't far off last season, and they'll be pushing again this season, won't they?
Yeah, look, it's been amazing. If you followed the journey, it's been great. But obviously, it's been difficult for other teams to compete, especially coming through the leagues. The Championship was always going to be the stumbling block in the progression because of how competitive it is. And I think you look at the Championship this year, it's got to be one of the toughest leagues. There's so many massive teams, and Wrexham being one of them. And obviously, it weren't that long ago where Cardiff were fighting for the Premier League and in the Premier League as well. So they'll be looking to try and improve on what they did last year and carry that on into the Championship. So, yeah, look, it's an amazing journey, and everyone's got to follow it, and what they've done has been brilliant. I think it's been brilliant for the game, the amount of courage it's brought. It's taken the Championship, I suppose, to a wider audience now as well.
From Cardiff, I was going to say, from Cardiff's point of view, there's a few people expect them to do all right. I mean, what would constitute a good season this first season back? You think they should be there's 8 teams in the playoffs, so you think they should be pushing for playoffs, or is it all about just kind of consolidating this year?
I think consolidating and build. I think look, with such a young, talented group, anything can kind of happen. But I just feel there's a lot of power in this league this year. You look at the teams that have come down, the teams who just missed out on the playoffs last year, or who were in the playoffs, are going to give it another go. I think it'll be a tough ask. But look, you never know. They were incredible last year with the way they played. The manager's got them playing a really big, expansive style, and there's so many exciting players there. The Kean Ashford, Ollie Tanners of the world, Ruben Colwell, and players like that. So look, I think anything can happen, but I think if they just stay in this league this year and have a good, solid season, then they'll stand them in good stead going forward.
I was impressed by that stat. The Championship is the 3rd most watched league in Europe. It's incredible, really.
It's so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about Phil Parkinson? He's done a wonderful job there, but you do wonder if they don't come up this year, might they look away?
They've been. I mean,
very loyal to him.
Well, everybody thought, Steve, that as they moved up the ranks, they would get a bit Hollywood, but they've been incredibly loyal to him. He's done a very good job. So, what do you make of the job he's done there?
He's been excellent. He's grown with them. I think you can see the way he's managing the team. He's changed his style from where he was when he first come through with the group, and when he managed other teams. And look, he's been excellent. I'm really pleased. I remember when there was noise around him possibly leaving and then replacing him, and they stuck with him and they got the job done. And I said they had a solid season last year, just missing out. Look, I think that's a credit to this whole story. As you said, that it's Hollywood and it's great, it's exciting, and people would have expected maybe there'll be a Hollywood name in there, but in Wrexham, Phil Parkinson's a Hollywood name, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you mentioned some of the other teams up there who'll be pushing, who came close, and one of them is your old club, Millwall. How are you feeling about? Look, there are a lot of people tipping them up for at least the playoffs at the moment.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I think if you look at the information out there, they've always finished around the playoffs. Last year was the highest that they finished for a long time. I think their recruitment's been good. Aziz goes off early in the game at the weekend, and Lisby comes on and was instrumental and was excellent, which I think is an excellent piece of business. And I think you can see the way they've done their work, not been wholesale changes, just tweaked the couple, added a little bit of depth. And I thought Josh Coburn at the weekend was a proper handful and got the players sent off because they couldn't deal with him. And yeah, look, it's going to be tough, as the championship's going to be, but I think they're in a really good place.
Good stuff. Steve, good to talk to you as always.
No
What
worries.
are you up to at the moment?
I'm working at Leicester in their loans. So I'm helping their younger players out on loan. And yeah, it's really enjoyable and really feels good helping these younger players trying to fulfill their dreams.
And an interesting role, I guess, kind of seeing it, because it's about getting them in the right club so they get game time and they flourish. You know, a bad loan is never a great thing, is it? Certainly early on in a player's career.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, we know a lot of people in the game, and you can try and help them on their way, and you can give them advice, and they can lean on you. And just being there as a support network for them is great. And as I said, if we get them the right loan, they can excel. And we had a really good couple of loans last year, and those players are now in the first team and doing really well this season. So it's a great platform for them. And as I said, if I can help them along the way, then great.
Excellent. Brilliant. Good to talk to you, Steve. Enjoy the game
Thank
tonight.
you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good night.
Take care. Steve Morrison there, former Cardiff City manager and Millwall frontman. And that game live on talkSPORT. All the build-up from 7 and 8 o'clock kick-off over on talkSPORT 2. Here on talkSPORT, Adrian Dunham, Stuart Pearson, Darren Lewis put the world to rights. They'll keep an eye on that match for you, I'm sure. But up next, it's Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent back together on Drive. We'll see you tomorrow from 1.
Another one or two players in Man United in with a shout at the title. What do you think, Gabby?
No, I think Champions League will take a lot out of that squad of players. I look at right backs, Mazraoui, Dalot, not good enough. Centre backs, they need cover there as well. Shesko, listen, he done okay last season, double figures. He's got to be at it this season. They've got a very good squad of players, Jeff, but if they don't get 2 or 3 top players in certain roles, I don't think they can fight for the title. I think top 4 again and get out of the group stage of the Champions League will be a very good season.
Yeah, I mean, they've not been too busy in the transfer market, to say the least. They've brought in Yuri Tielemans, they've brought in Andre Santos. Ben Foster thinks one of those is the signing of the summer.
I still think Yuri Tielemans is the signing so far.
What a better business that is.
What a bit of business.
Yeah.
Honestly, I genuinely still think I'm watching a load of transfers happen and, you know, Tottenham spending a lot of